Hey, and welcome back
Hey!
to the Movie Busters, episode 13.
Yep.
Star Wars Original Trilogy.
The OT.
You know what would have been even cooler?
Original versions.
Tell you what, you know what would be even cooler if we were doing this on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, but Star Wars month, so fuck it.
Episode 13, Friday the 13th, get it?
Yeah.
I know, but there's no new Friday 13 coming out, so whatever.
Introduce ourselves.
Yes. Of course, I'm Alex Skywalker. Strong with the Force.
Whoa!
Oh my God.
Gotta stop some Sith as I have
I
to.
thought the Force. Hey, I thought the Jedi were all extinct. This is a lot. Arguing with the Hutt. I'm Boba Fett.
Pooga Shaga.
I didn't die in the Sarlacc pit. I survived.
Yeah, you did. I accidentally hit you with my lightsaber, and you
And
went. Yeah.
I took my helmet off. So screw everybody.
And of course, last but not least,
I am Han Thomas. I'm a kind of a mixture between a little bit of Bill Pullman from Spaceballs and Harrison Ford. So
Now, did you shoot first?
Damn it!
Did you shoot first?
I was gonna say that.
Ah!
Are you the Han that shot first, or
It's a big controversy around the galaxy. And the run. How long was that? That's a big successful run. Parsecs.
Parsec?
yes, parsecs. The hell's a parsec anyway?
You're all
The mile?
Bob.
But yeah, of course, we're starting off with the original film, Star Wars, or now it's called Episode 4,
New Hope.
Or just call it Star Wars. Star Wars, the original.
Yep.
The one that started all back in 1977.
It's not even New Hope.
Man himself, George Lucas.
Written, directed, yes, by George Lucas. So yes, in this movie, opening crawl it is a period of civil war. Rebel spaceships striking from a hidden base have won their first victory against the evil Galactic Empire. During the battle, rebel spies managed to steal secret plans to the Empire's ultimate weapon, Death Star. Go watch World War I for that. An armored space station with enough power to destroy an entire planet. Pursued by the Empire's sinister agents, Princess Leia races home aboard her starship of a stolen plans that can save her people and restore freedom to the galaxy. Dot.
And everyone died before this to get the plans.
Yeah.
No one cared.
No one. Imagine watching this for the first time. What the hell's going on? Who are these characters and what's this stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's the rebels?
You have this was kind of a thing that had never been done before, so it really surprised everyone, and I think that's why it took off so well. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Like American Graffiti, and so he made this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The car movie?
Yeah, Harrison Ford worked on American Graffiti, which I never knew that George Lucas actually directed American.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was his first movie.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, my bad. His first movie was THX.
I knew Harrison Ford was on American Graffiti, but I never knew George Lucas directed the movie.
Yeah.
Very disappointed in it to this day.
What, American Graffiti?
Yeah, George Lucas always says he made 10 cents. That's what he always makes that joke. Made 10 cents.
All right, we got Chucky Doll in the chat.
I had
Yeah.
my comment.
He says, God, I can't wait for Rise of Power. All right.
I can.
But oh shit.
I already know the whole movie.
You're psychic.
I sense that you're full of shit.
Faith disturbing, Alex.
Yeah. But yes, we'll start on the original Star Wars.
We didn't have Alec Guinness go like this.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Let's start on this.
Come on. That's intimidating.
It is. It's like back up.
Well,
Got you on my crosshair.
Back the fuck up, Grievous.
Oh uncivilized, you motherfucker. No. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, yep. Star Wars.
I want to start in the original. Wants to jump on this one.
Go ahead. Go. Don't matter. Go ahead.
I mean, if you want to
I
go,
don't know.
first,
You guys saw it first because you guys are older, so I don't know.
I mean, if you want to go first,
Well,
Al,
well, fuck you.
The year was 1932. I had put my suspenders on and had gone to the Broadway show.
I just got out of my Model T.
All right, so I was not a wait. This was 70 what?
He was not a fan.
77.
Okay, so I wasn't even born.
And then it was re-released again in 97.
God, 70s were great.
I hate the 70s. Really, I really do. I hate that disco shit. I do.
So you don't like the disco? You don't like this disco Star Wars theme song?
What?
The disco Star Wars theme song? You've heard
I
it
don't
before,
think I've
right?
heard it.
The disco Star. You never heard that version of the Star Wars theme song?
Uh-uh.
Oh shit! I can't play it because copyright. But
What are you talking about? Disco?
yeah, you never heard the disco version?
What? John Travolta dancing to it?
No,
Saturday Night Fever?
no, the disco version of the Star Wars theme song.
Like
No.
that.
I've never
it's not
heard
like
of
that.
it.
You never? Oh, wow.
I've
Really?
never.
you'll have to send us the link later.
Yeah.
I've heard a bunch of remixes, but I've never heard of it.
I guess I'm not a true fan.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah.
But go on.
Okay. So yeah. I just know. Yeah. I mean, I was. I guess I was just a standard fan of Star Wars when I was a kid, but I do know. Yeah. I mean, obviously, this movie was huge because it had never something like it had never been done before.
It's a phenomenon.
Yeah. And I honestly, offhand, I don't know how much it made compared to the budget.
You're actually right here.
At the time, well, only back in 1977, it only cost $11 million.
And it made
It doesn't seem much now, but at the time, that was
and
expensive.
it made 775.4 million worldwide.
See, that it was so. There
So
you go.
definitely a really huge hit.
But yeah, you have pretty much unknown actors at this point. You know, minus maybe Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford was like the only, I think, big. Well, yeah.
When you figure Harrison Ford before the movie, you know, he did American Graffiti. I did.
That's it, really.
Was Apocalypse?
He was known as the.
Was
He
Apocalypse?
was known as the jerk. Yeah, but I know that was a small role though.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm about to say, was Apocalypse Now before Star Wars?
It was after Star Wars.
Your head facts.
Yeah. So what else was Harrison Ford in before this with American
That's
Graffiti?
just American Graffiti. Really, that's it.
On set.
He was George Lucas's carpenter.
Carpenter.
Or sorry,
Who
maybe
was?
Spielberg. Maybe Spielberg's carpenter.
He was a fudge packer. Oh God.
So, well, I guess Peter Cushing and Alec Guinness were known actors, but I think they had been past their heyday, I guess is what you could say. So,
Yeah.
am I correct in that?
No, yeah, they're old.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much, you know, I think George Lucas calls this movie a space opera. I think that's how he kind of explained this movie. But, yeah, it started the whole, you know, it started everything. You have Darth Vader, who at this time, no one knew his backstory. Just a very sinister character. And, they really barely touch on the Force in this film. You know, the Force is a big deal in Star Wars, but it's not a high point of this movie. You know, it's brought up, you know, here and there, and we don't really know the extent of the powers of the Force. The Force powers we get in this movie are, weak-minded people can be manipulated. We have that. We have the ability to like move objects from a distance that Obi-Wan does. If you remember, he makes a sound and the stormtroopers kind of go off in the other direction. What are some of the other? Is that the only?
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Well, that
and
one.
then, and then
The Force choke.
Force
Force choke.
Vader.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So really, we don't get much with that. I'd say the movie is pretty much about the three main actors, or the characters, Leia, Luke Skywalker, and Han Solo, and they all have their own plot going on, which is kind of nice.
It's kind of like a fish out of water movie if you think about it with Luke.
Yeah.
Because because
you got the droids, which were really cool. You got to give it to Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker. They were awesome.
You know what makes the movie good too is the fact that there are people shooting scenes in real places and not a goddamn green screen.
Yeah, I mean, the movie had to rely heavily on practical effects.
Yeah,
but it does make me wonder. When they had the lightsaber battles and stuff, I wonder what people thought of that, because again, there's not much lightsaber stuff in this movie either. When you watch it again, I just recently watched all the Star Wars movies, and I did notice it's not a fact of, in my opinion anyway, I didn't feel like it didn't look like it had a bad budget, but when you watch the other Star Wars movies, for instance, the space battle at the end, there's not a lot of ships. There's only like a handful of ships on both sides fighting for the Death Star, but back then that was probably awesome. Like, holy crap, this is like a huge deal. Now you got 1,000 ships in the air fighting.
because all it was models on wires. That's how they did it.
Right. Yeah, it's really cool to see the behind the scenes on how they did it back then. But I don't really. It's hard to. I feel like the original trilogy is kind of hard to talk about because everyone likes them. I mean, there's not too much to nit.
It doesn't have like as much controversy as like the prequel.
Well, when was the first time you saw it, the movie?
Okay, definitely. Obviously at home. I want to say it was definitely on regular TV. I can't even tell you if I saw that one first. I want to say I might have even seen Empire at first because as a kid, I do remember as a kid when I watch it, I would be like, well, wait a minute, like which one is this? Like, is this the first one? Like, I wasn't.
Yeah, I had that problem too.
Yeah. Even going back to Rocky, I want to say, like, as a kid, I don't recall. I'm almost certain I saw Rocky 3 before any of the other Rockies, and like it was like when Rocky 1 or 2 would be on, I'd be like, well, wait a minute, I'm like, is this 1 or 2 or whatever? But I felt like that's how it was.
I think the first Rocky I saw was Drago.
Rocky 4, okay.
That'll come from a lot of people too.
Yeah.
Like,
but, when I was a kid, again, I had one Star Wars toy, and it was Obi-Wan Kenobi, the action figure. That's the only one I had. So again, it wasn't like I was like hugely into it, but it was definitely something that when you saw, you were like, wow, this is a unique thing. This is a new thing. I do feel when I watched all the Star Wars movies recently. This was the one personally. I felt it did seem dated. It felt a little dated to me, and even with the additional stuff, which I think helps the movie. I think George Lucas going back. Now, I did see in the theater. I'm one of the people that, for the most part, I am okay that George Lucas went back and decided to fix up what he thought was wrong because they are his movies. If it didn't work out how he wanted because of the technology at the time, I mean, what's stopping him from going to?
Yeah, most of the changes are okay.
Yeah,
some of them were kind of unnecessary.
With A New Hope, unfortunately, again with that movie, when he went back and did re-edit the original trilogy, even at that point, the special effects weren't quite up to par. And even like when I just watched it, you could tell with the additions, they
like the '97 editions, like
right, they don't quite look because you go to Phantom Menace in '99. Even then, even like now, some of those effects are not that great. We've talked about the Gungan battle droid battle. You can tell it's CGI. So that technology was used to redo the original trilogy. But to me, A New Hope. I know we're going to rank them at the end, so I'm not going to say. But I felt it wasn't necessarily a pacing issue. I did feel like it was a little slower than than I would like. But again, I think it's just a matter of the time. I think at the time that movie was just like spectacular. I think at the time, if you would see it, you'd be like, wow, that was like the most amazing thing. But we've kind of been spoiled at this point with all the other Star Wars movies and all the action. So
I think it's more story driven than the movie.
yeah, and
you know,
and I think all the actors did a great job. I don't have any problem with Alec Guinness. I think he did fine, but personally, I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan better.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like Revenge of the Sith and things like that.
Yeah. With Ewan McGregor, we get to see Obi-Wan in his prime.
Right.
he had more than Alec Guinness did. So.
Yeah, I would say like offhand, my only nitpick on the movie, besides maybe like I said, the more slower pace was the Obi-Wan Darth Vader lightsaber battle is pretty weak. In fact, you can tell at that time if you go watch it now, Darth Vader, the way he fights with his lightsaber, it is completely unlike Darth Vader. Like he's like advancing like he shouldn't be moving like that. And then when you see him in every other incarnation, he moves like he should be moving.
When he's fighting an Empire in Return of the Jedi, he's always one-handed. A lot of times he's one-handed, like when he's fighting.
Yeah, and I remember them talking about like what is it in fencing where you're a parry? I think that's like where you kind of thrust forward.
Yeah.
Like you could like Darth Vader, like the way he's moving on his feet, it's like okay, he shouldn't be moving like that. I'm probably overanalyzing the scene, but it really, if you go back and watch, you'll see what I'm talking about. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's a great movie. So
I mean, it's really hard to talk about a film that everybody knows and loves.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been discussed for 40 years. So I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. So
Boba Fett.
He wasn't in that movie.
You're no good to me, dead. All right.
He is in the special edition.
And New Hope?
Yeah, the Jabba scene. You do see him. Yeah, he's only in the special editions, not in the actual.
I think that new edition scene is fine, except Jabba looks like shit. That's the problem.
I'm not going to see. But I'll get into that.
Okay. What I liked about Star Wars is they took the Eastern and Western culture and brought it together. Like, swords were lightsabers, and then guns were blasters, and so like they combined both of those cultures and made it into a space movie. Which, and at that time, of course, that's never been done. So it's like that's really cool. And I can't really remember the first time I saw Star Wars. I know my brother, who's 12 years older than me, he loved Star Wars. He had all the toys. He had the Millennium Falcon toy. He had all the little 3-inch figures. And I remember always like looking at them and kind of like playing with them a little bit. But that kind of got me into Star Wars a little bit. But I can't say I was really big into Star Wars until Return of the Jedi. Like until I saw that movie for the first time, then I was like, oh, like this is really cool stuff. So, I did see the special editions, when they went to the theaters, re-released in theaters. I did see them. But yeah, like the New Hope. As far as New Hope, like it just seems like when you were talking about the pacing, it's more like I said, like they don't. The movie really starts when they get on the Death Star. Like it starts to pick up, and then that whole all the other parts is just story building.
Yeah, I just don't think they had they had to go their route because they weren't able to have the fancy.
Because we don't know what's going on at this point. We don't know. They're building the characters up, but I do like the practical stuff. The ships on wires. They took models from ships, like ship models that you can glue together and build. They took models from those and just made them into like layers on a table, and then they shot the camera would go down. That's the Death Star. Whenever the camera's going down in the trench of the Death Star, that's the model kits, which was very creative and clever. Like when you watch on CGI, like if it's all CGI, like you can tell, It just feels like something's actually there when you watch these because it's all practical. It really is. So I can appreciate that, and even the costumes when they go into the cantina bar, all those were costumes, and they were all animatronic stuff. You know,
the creatures, yeah.
Creatures, yeah, the creatures. The designs were great, and even in the special editions, didn't he add a few things when they were on the land speeder? They go into Mos Eisley. There's that tall giraffe-looking thing, which was I thought was kind of. They just added that just to add more, but that was CG,
right?
And again, to me, that does not look right in a background that's real and with real characters running around. And here you have this one CGI thing. That, to me, that kind of fell out of place because you can tell it's CG.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I feel like if he nowadays would go back, they might be able to blend it better.
Certain things they fixed, like the land speeder, like he put Vaseline over the lens to cover up the wheel. That's how he did it in the originals. But when he went back to fix it, he created to where you didn't have to have that effect anymore. That's a necessary change, in my opinion. That's something how you fix things up. But certain things to add in there just because you feel the world is emptier. I don't know if I agree with a lot of that. Like, it's fine to do things here and there, but like I said, to add that creature, it just kind of felt like why, you know?
Yeah. No, I feel like no, it's perfectly true because when you watch A New Hope, those scenes stand out because of the difference of look. I do agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Like I almost wish they would go back and touch up some of that stuff because I didn't quite understand the Anakin's lightsaber. It looks garbagey in that movie. Like, why didn't they make it look crisp like all the other lightsabers?
It's the first movie.
Are you talking about like the way it looked in the original version, or even the special editions?
The special editions. I literally just watched all of them, and it's like
the blade.
The blade is like almost like it's flickering. But it's like when you watch the sequel trilogy, it looks good. So it's like that's an easy. I mean, obviously the prequels were coming out soon. I mean, look, when you watch the Phantom Menace, look how good the sabers look then. Like, I don't know why he didn't touch up the sabers.
Well, actually, like in A New Hope and Empire, it does look a little different to me.
Really?
A little bit.
Let me talk really quick about a scene that always scared me, and of course, when I was younger, when I saw it, the trash compactor scene scares. Even today, when I watch it, I get that memory of when I used to sit there and be like, I can't watch this, just because there was a creature in there that grabs Luke. Then the walls coming together. I'm claustrophobic. When I see that, I'm like, oh my god. Like, what would I do in that situation? Like that scene bothered me just for that reason.
Just to cut in just a second. When I just rewatched all these movies, I watched them with my two daughters who are 10 and 12, and they have never seen the films before. And it was when that trash compactor scene came up, I told them, like, when I was a kid, this scene scared me. So yeah, it was like
that. Yeah. That
what did they say when you said that?
Oh well, the scene, it was like they went down the chute and then they were just right in there. And I was like, oh, this scene. When I was a kid, this scene scared me. And they're like, why? Now this was before they said that. I'm like, well, because the walls were closing in, and there's like a creature under the water that you don't know what it is. And I'm like, that's what was kind of creepy. And my oldest daughter is more scared of things than my younger, so they didn't really say anything. I guess I should have asked them after. They didn't say anything.
I thought you were gonna say they probably laughed at you or something. There's
yeah, it's a good point. I don't know, but I mean, they I don't know.
Just to finish up, John Williams. Star Wars probably has one of the most recognizable themes in movie sound history.
Yeah.
Other than like Rocky or Jaws or Terminator.
He also worked on those too.
Yeah. Star Wars is a great theme, and it's known by everybody. If you don't know what Star Wars theme is, when it comes up, then you're born in a barn. I don't know where you've been, but soundtrack and characters are great. I love the movie. I love all three of the original movies in the original trilogy. but I love Return of the Jedi. Is probably my favorite. So I really can't say really anything negative about New Hope.
Lightsaber battle.
Okay, well, for me. It's a nitpick. The lightsaber battle is weak, and that's because we've been delegated to seeing the prequels.
Yeah, like at the time, I'm sure people were like, "Oh, that was cool."
Right. So, and let's just confirm this: it's called a lightsaber, not a laser sword. Even Kenobi says your father's lightsaber. The first time lightsaber is mentioned. So the whole laser sword thing, I don't know why.
Well, Luke says it in The Last Jedi.
That's stupid. That's stupid. I don't know why he says
Does he?
He does.
Yep.
You think I'm going to go up there with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order? Like, okay, first of all, fuck you. And second of all, it's a lightsaber.
Not me. No, he's in it.
I remember people who were not into Star Wars would call it a laser sword. They wouldn't call it a lightsaber.
Hey, real quick, one more thing I want to tell you. When I did rewatch these, I've never watched the order of episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that, like in chronological order, which I did do it this time. And I asked my kids, I said, what did you think of the special effects going, I didn't say downhill, but the effects difference in the prequels from the original trilogy. And they were both like, oh, we didn't really notice it very much, which surprised me. So that's good. That's good in a sense, because
which is interesting because a lot of these newcomers that are into Star Wars don't even realize that this movie was not called Episode 4. It was just Star Wars. That's it. Empire was not called Episode 5.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah. That's part of the pop culture that they're called episodes 4, 5, 6.
I'm glad that Lucas went back to number them, much like the Rocky films. Number them so we know,
Roman numeral, baby.
Roman numeral, yep.
Number them so we know, what's the order. So yeah, shitty movie. Moving on.
0 stars.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let Han Thomas go next.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with what Dan said. What more can be said about the original Star Wars that hasn't been said before? I mean, it was really the Star Wars film that set the tone for all the other Star Wars movies. It was a huge phenomenon. People didn't really know what Star Wars was until this movie, and it introduced all these great characters that we know of today. Leia and Luke and Han, Obi-Wan, R2-D2. I mean, this is really the film that really introduced us to the Star Wars.
Chewbacca, don't forget about that. The best character ever.
Rest in peace, Peter Mayhew.
Medal.
Peter Mayhew, we miss you so much.
Okay, I'll get into that. I'm gonna rat on that shit.
Really? I'll give you guys the. Oh, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
I don't want to cut you off, but something I forgot to mention.
Oh, go ahead.
How they make a big deal out of who shot first. Is it really a big deal?
No.
Yes and no. I'll get into that, but yes and no.
I mean, I can understand the viewpoint, but I don't really think it really does matter. But I can definitely see where people come from that.
Even AVGN or James Rolfe said it doesn't matter.
The thing that just bothers me now about that scene is when Han's neck moves, it looks.
Oh yeah, he fake. Nudges
it looked. You could tell it was a effect that they added.
So when they added that means Greedo did shoot because he had time to move.
Well, it says now that they both shoot at the same time. That's how they fixed it. First, it was Greedo.
It's like they can't come up. They're gonna piss off fans. It's like they can't.
That's why they went that route.
Yeah.
But still, people are so pissed. Sorry, Thomas. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick.
Oh no, that's fine. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, I'm actually going to give you guys a few bits of info about some of the casting. Now, of course, Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker. You know who the original choice was for Luke? William Catt.
Yeah.
William Catt, the guy that played Tommy in the original Carrie.
Yeah, you can see you've seen the Star Wars documentaries. You see the audition tapes.
Yeah. And
muscle.
And on top of that, we have of course Harrison Ford as Han Solo. I mean, Harrison Ford, fantastic actor, one of my personal favorite actors of all time. Plays a great character in Han Solo, but I also love The Fugitive, Witness, and among many others.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. I mean,
I didn't even like Han Solo.
I think about like the top 2 characters that Harrison Ford's played. It's Indiana Jones and Han Solo. I mean, those are like the top 2. Now, I'm sure you guys probably know like a lot. There was a lot of casting choices they went for with Han Solo. There was like a ton of people they went to. I mean, they went to Kurt Russell, which I can see. Kurt Russell would have been kind of an interesting choice. I will.
He would have been good, I think.
Yeah.
Nick Nolte is Nick Nolte. No.
Well, he's in The Mandalorian. So.
That's hilarious. And of course, the classic film.
Your boy was considered for Han Solo, Rob Stallone.
Oh gosh.
And part of me, if I had to do this, but I got to do the Stallone Han Solo thing. So excuse me for a second.
Go ahead.
All right. Princess Leia, Han Solo, R2.
Sanitation. There you go. Sanitation.
The Force is with us.
Best ship. Hey, yo, it is a best ship.
Other guys they went to, Bill Murray. That was another one. I remember they went to him for Han Solo.
I can't see that at all.
It would have been a comedy then.
You know what would have been really funny as Han Solo? Christopher Walken.
That also would have been a comedy.
All right. R2, you got to know that Chewbacca, but see, you don't know.
That thing was improv too. When Han was in the Death Star, and he's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "Good." He's like, "Good. How are you?"
Yeah. Everything's fine up here.
There's a reactor. Give me a few minutes to lock it down. Who are you? What's your operating number? Oh.
Foreign conversation anyway.
Other guys they went to Burt Reynolds. May he rest in peace, Burt Reynolds. Jack Nicholson, they went to him too for Han Solo.
Hey,
Al Pacino was another one they went to. Darth Vader, don't piss me off.
Hooah! The Force. Say hello to my little gun.
And these two I could not see. Steve Martin or Chevy Chase. Sorry.
Yeah, iconic actors.
Who the?
And ironically enough,
Why are they auditioning comedians? What the hell?
They're big names at the time.
Another choice that they actually went to for Han was Billy D. Williams, who went out to be Lando instead.
Now he was very popular in Empire. Like when he was actually the movie star when Empire came out. Billy D. Williams was.
Mm-hmm.
And then Batman. But
And there was also
he was the best Harvey then.
there was also a few people.
That's the best Harry then that never got to be Two-Face. Yeah.
I'm glad.
And on top of that too,
That's racist.
Black Two-Face? Oh my God.
and on top of that too, of course, Carrie Fisher as Leia.
Yeah.
There was actually a few people that were up for Leia. Two of them really stand out for me that I recognize the most: Karen Allen and Jodie Foster.
Don't forget Tits McGee.
Where's Rob? Oh, there he goes.
Oh, that about fell on
We got eaten by the Starlight Pit.
Oh God.
But yeah, enough of all that. But enough of the tidbits of info. But
What's
yeah,
the time you saw it?
Karen Allen had actually done good. She was in the Raiders, of course.
Yeah.
well, she worked
She
with
was in the
Harrison
Raiders.
Ford. Well, yeah, Harrison Ford on Indiana Jones. So, and it said that Jodie Foster turned down the role because she was already under contract with Disney, working on 2 other films at the time.
I had a crush on Carrie Fisher back then. Like
All the Star Wars did.
not I'm not talking about the Return of the Jedi bikini, but I'm talking about before that. I just thought, I don't know, she was just smoking back in those days.
Yeah.
She turned into cigarette.
Yeah, but going back to what I was saying before, but yeah, I agree with what Dan said. Like I said, it's really hard to talk about a film that everybody knows and loves. You know, like I said, Mark Hamill does a great job as Luke. Harrison Ford great as Han. Carrie Fisher as Leia, Peter Cushing in the movie as well. Of course, Peter Mayhew as Chewie, Billy D. Williams as Lando, R2-D2. I mean, you have great characters, and
this is a franchise that if you say something wrong, this has a fan base where they rip you apart. Like,
oh yeah,
that's what sucks about this. Like, say one thing wrong, boom.
Yeah.
Midichlorians.
Yeah, but yeah, and on top of that too, it was really great rewatching the film again. It was really great revisiting the film again. I haven't seen it in a while. I refreshed up on my memory to get this ready for the stream, and yeah, I mean, it holds up quite well. I still think I think episode 5 and 6 are better. That's just me though. I think I like those movies better than episode 4, but yeah, but this was a really great start to the Star Wars universe. And, John Williams' score is one of the best scores of all time. It's one of the most popular movie scores of all time. If you don't know the Star Wars theme, then you must be living under a rock or something. I mean, who doesn't know the Star Wars theme? I mean, everybody knows. Even if you're not a big Star Wars person, it's still a great theme that everybody knows about. And I think George Lucas did a great job directing the movie. I do agree with Dan, about the special editions, how he went back in and put some stuff in. I can see why he would put some stuff in the movie, because you when you look at the original Star Wars, like some of the ship battles and things like that, they're not as big or as epic as as the later movies, because those movies have much more of a budget than this one, because this only had $11 million worth of a budget. But for the time it was made, it was groundbreaking for a lot of people at that time. They were probably like, oh my god, what's this? They were like, it was like eye candy at that time in the 70s. It was kind of like in a kind of a comparison where when people kind of played Mario on a Super Nintendo, going from that to Mario 64 on the N64, and there was 3D graphics, and at the time people were like, oh, they were just amazed, what is this stuff? It was kind of around this time, people at the time, it was kind of groundbreaking for 1977. Nowadays, though, you have these big budget movies with all this stuff happening on the screen and things like that. But we got to remember that this was the 70s. This was a different period of time, so it was pretty amazing at that time for a lot of people. But I can see why people would think of it as groundbreaking, because at the time period. But I do think there are much more bigger fights in the later Star Wars films that are much bigger. But overall, I mean, I don't really know much more I can say about the film. I mean, like Dan said, it's really a film that people know. It's a product that everybody knows about. And this really kind of started the whole snowball effect of the Star Wars universe. I mean, this is really the film that captivated everybody into the stratosphere, pretty much, and it became even more popular as the sequels came along and things like that. And you got introduced to other characters as well in the Star Wars films. So overall, a great movie. Episode 4 definitely gets a thumbs up for me. So that's all I really got to say about episode 4.
Okay.
All right.
Alex? Well, this is one of the rare movies or franchises where at the time I saw the original first, this one first, whereas so many other movies that had sequels, I would watch the sequels first. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I remember I saw this around the time episode 1 came out. I mentioned that when you did the prequel show. I'm pretty sure I did see this one first for episode 1. It was always on TBS. And at the time, I couldn't even explain why it fascinated me so much, because I was never really into sci-fi until I saw Star Wars, and it's just the world and the characters. It's something I'd never seen before. It's just different. It's just every time it will be on TV, even if it was halfway through, I'll watch it, just be enthralled with it, and because spaceships, the blasters, the lightsaber. I've never seen anything like this. Okay, look at it. Check this out. I know I showed this off before the show. But
You hear that?
So,
That
yeah,
looks better than all the sabers in New Hope look.
I can't say that. I mean, this is not gonna actually burn me.
True.
No, but I'm saying it looks better.
Yeah, but
Excuse me. Whew.
but yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, the characters and
Mhm.
the score by John Williams. I need to say this because the Leia theme song, the one that they always like to use in the newer movies with the trailers, like every time they play that song, even though I just listen to it, something about it always gets to me emotionally. So I start tearing up. I can't think of any other score in movie history like that. It does the same thing. It just something about it. I can't explain it. It's like, I don't know. It's just that beautiful. It's like so beautiful. It just like, gets to me.
Yeah, and when you figure with Carrie Fisher now passing away, it kind of becomes even more emotionally attached.
Yeah, I think maybe that's part of it. But even before that, they still do it. But
And he was a cutie in the day, I'm not going to lie.
yeah, even this one, even New Hope. But I will say, okay, we'll say like but the effects, you guys kind of talked about it a little bit. Like, I don't mind that Lucas changes like a few things, like the effects with with the ships and the speeder and all that stuff. Like that's like little stuff. Like okay, that's fine. I understand why he would update that. But the Jabba scene, honestly, is just pointless because you get the same information with the Greedo scene. It's pretty much the exact same dialogue.
Yeah, it is true.
And yeah, I mean, and since it's CGI effect,
it made more sense though to put him over the man because it didn't make sense that Jabba was a man and then he was
right. But like the way they shot that scene originally, he walks behind Jabba, so they had to step, but he has to step on his tail, and it's like, whoa, someone like Jabba won't let that happen. Really, especially somebody like Han Solo who's like this close to getting killed.
Jabba shouldn't even move. He should just be on a platform, and they should wheel him out.
Honestly, I never got. If you watch The Phantom Menace and A New Hope, like Jabba looks bad in both of those movies.
Right.
I just like that. It just goes to show you they couldn't match the awesome practical effect of Return of the Jedi.
And it goes back to my thing where you add a CG character to an environment that's real, where you've seen it before without the CG character, but when they add it, it doesn't belong. It's just like, what if they would have done that with the Rancor in Return of the Jedi? Now, that was an actual thing. That was an actual puppet thing. It wasn't CG, but that's why Jabba just doesn't look right. He just doesn't look right there.
I don't think the technology was there.
No.
And Lucas was like, of course, when they showed him what they could do. I think he went overboard with it. I really do, with adding in some of the stuff.
Because he was about to make the prequel, so he wanted the technology to like mesh well. I think that's what he's trying to do, but like it didn't really work out.
No, I agree. I agree. There's definitely some scenes that were not needed and some CGI stuff that definitely stands out because of the practical effects of the actual first version of it.
Yeah, and about the Greedo scene, the reason I say it's a problem, yes and no. It's not a problem by the fact that Han still kills Greedo. I mean, but it is a problem with, well, it's just like, okay. Just the fact that Greedo is like literally pointing the gun at him and he misses, like pointing, but like I got close it. Like, come on, man. Like that just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it comes down to this, and they did this in Indiana Jones, and I'm not going off track. I just want to point this out. They didn't want a hero doing something bad in that he killed somebody.
Yeah, but he's killing somebody that was going to kill him.
Right, but you could, it could be construed that, Han's a murderer. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that's why they changed it.
So you're saying Han doesn't kill?
that they don't want. They don't. It's one of these like, well, heroes won't kill anyone unless they're being, their life is in danger.
But he's not. But at that point in the story, he's not a hero. He's a space pirate looking out for himself.
But I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that's why they changed it. And I'm going to bring up Kingdom of the Crystal Skull real quick.
Right.
Indiana Jones does not use his revolver in that movie. You go back and watch the other 3 movies, he's killing people left and right with that revolver.
Right.
They took that out because they don't want, we can't have our hero do like evil things like that. See, and I hate that garbage. That's the one thing that bothers me about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But as far as the Han Solo thing goes, yeah, I really don't care either way personally. But I definitely understand why people don't like that they changed that.
But like all the changes, it's the one that like it seems like all the fans like unanimously agree that that's the worst. Like that's the bad change.
Yeah, and
that's why.
Exactly, that's the reason because they've done numerous polls, but pretty much majority-wise, like if you ask fans who's their favorite Star Wars character, almost everyone says Han Solo.
He's not even my favorite character.
No, and not mine either.
No.
But generally, when you ask, I've seen like polls and stuff, and like he always wins the polls.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Harrison Ford, the performance that people like.
Yeah.
So like if it's not Han Solo, it's either like people pick Darth Vader as their favorite character.
Yeah.
Like people like the more darker, like more mean, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, it's funny you mentioned the trash compactor scene. I can't remember how I felt about that when I saw it as a kid. I don't think it's that like when it's closing. That part didn't scare me. What scared me was the monster under the water. Like that was creepy. Like you see the little eye thing come out.
That's all you get is a little glimpse, and that's what's amazing. That's why Jaws worked in a sense. You didn't see the shark.
Right.
I think it's always more intimidating when you don't know what's there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And I actually disagree with you guys about the pacing. It's just like one of those things. Like, well, at the time, that's how movies in the 70s. Okay. You guys should know this already because like you guys are older, old fucks. But
damn.
You know what? You can press that button to go off the stream right now. I'm done.
the way movies in the 70s were paced, that's how they were paced.
Oh yeah, what about French Connection? Huh?
Well, I've never seen it, so fuck that.
That movie's paced like a goddamn cheetah.
Oh. Well, isn't that movie an action film?
The 70s suck. Just
yeah, it is.
What's in? But
I think
like Jaws is also paced pretty slow as well.
What
into that?
What?
Well, like 7,
What?
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, but like I never get bored watching New Hope like ever.
No, I agree. I don't.
Who said they get bored?
I don't know.
I don't.
When
I didn't say it had pacing issues. I just said it felt slower moving, like the movie in its entirety. But that's because every other Star Wars movie, including Empire and Return of the Jedi, I feel there's more going on in the scenes.
Well, this one is I got to introduce everybody because this literally was the first one that was made.
Right, and you know what? It's just like a TV show. They have to find their footing. Yeah. I feel like the next, Empire and Jedi, he knew where he was going, and okay, like this is what I want to put at the front of the movie are these aspects and that people like. So
it's all working around his budget anyway. It's like he wanted to do a lot more, but
yeah.
Yeah, and one thing you guys haven't really mentioned and talked about is the Darth Vader, which is funny. It's interesting because in this movie he doesn't have his like iconic theme song yet.
Right.
Yeah, it's a different score altogether, which I actually think it's underrated. When he first introduced, when he first gets introduced in the movie, he comes in, he's just like looking at the dead bodies. Like,
the movie really doesn't even feel like okay. Karkin is like
The real main villain.
yeah. You feel like he's like the bad guy. There's not much Vader in this movie, really. I mean,
Wow.
I don't think Vader became this iconic villain until Empire. If you want me to be honest.
He had a bigger role in Empire.
Yeah.
Once they escape the Death Star, then after that, it's like nothing.
Yeah, because like Empire, it was the one where he got his iconic theme song. He had a bigger role, and
He was killing people left and right.
and you get to know him more as a character.
Right.
Yeah. And you get a glimpse of that in this movie when he's force choking that guy. That
Right.
says like, "Oh, you're old space bullshit." And it's funny because like you have that guy, he insults the Force, and Darth Vader chokes him, and then you have a similar scene in the movie where Han Solo's talking about how he doesn't believe in the Force, and Obi-Wan, of course, he doesn't attack him, but you see the scene again, he just kind of smiles. You're probably thinking in his head like, ignorant fool, like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
You know, it's funny. I mean, there's always going to be some discrepancies after the prequels came out, but there's only 18 years between, or 19 years between.
I thought it was supposed to be 20 years.
It's 19 years between. It's between Sith and A New Hope. Like, you're telling me in 19 years, everyone was just like, "Oh, the Force ain't real." Like, that'd be like after 19 years, us being like, "Well, Nazis didn't exist."
Well, I don't know, because there are people nowadays who think that 9/11 wasn't real.
They thought that like right after.
No, I know, but you know how.
Yeah, he's got a point there.
Yeah.
And it's like in a galaxy far, far away. So like maybe
And that,
information can change.
That's how they're talking about Ghostbusters too, like how it happened, and people are like, no, it didn't happen,
even though they have proof with videos on YouTube.
Exactly.
Yeah, like wouldn't there be like an old video of like the Marshmallow Man? Special effects.
No, it's fake
crap.
I like that they call the Force like the ancient religion. I like how they did that in A New Hope.
And speaking of which, George Lucas pretty much took he talked about this a lot. He took every piece of religion known to man and he kind of just put it together. And you see that in this trilogy, and you'll see it more in the prequel trilogy. Like the Jedi were more like monks. You get that?
Yeah. Well, I explained
the lightsaber, the samurai.
Yeah, they took the Eastern culture. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the Force spiritual, the more spiritual, kind of thing, which is almost every religion. So that's fascinating to me, and I'm not a religious person, but like when they do in movies, the way they do it is so fascinating, and this is an example of it.
I definitely agree with that. Definitely.
And you get more into that in Empire spiritual.
There's so much to expand on, though. That's why the prequels brought up the midichlorians and things like that. So there's so much to go on.
I don't like the midichlorians. I don't. But I like the Jedi Order, like all that stuff is interesting enough.
They're dumb. They proved that in the prequels.
So it's funny. So like the Jedis were all incels then.
They were what?
Incels. Like celibate.
Oh. No. Wait, no, because Anakin had.
No, Anakin. No. Besides Anakin broke the rules.
No, they were all founded when they were young.
Right, but they devote their lives to being Jedi, not actually raising a family.
Yeah, they were forbidden to have love.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's stupid.
You don't get they don't really say that in the original trilogy. It's more expanded upon in the prequels. But that's one thing. Like, even though they don't mention that in the original trilogy, I find that fascinating though, because that's part of like.
Shouldn't that lead to hate though? It's like, why can't you love? It's like, if you don't love, you're just cutting yourself off of everything, and can't loneliness lead to hate? Like, Yoda's stupid. Like, loneliness can drive you nuts. Then what?
Possession. Those are things of.
Well, like if you allow the Force to
they're actually they're acting like Anakin like shouldn't have loved Padme because then he wouldn't have dreams about her and then the whole thing wouldn't happen.
Well, it is his fault. He should have kept it in his pants.
Curse him for nothing.
I will say this again, going back to just rewatching this and watching the prequels first. It does make you look at Darth Vader completely different. When you watched these movies originally, you had no idea about this tormented, terrible backstory. Really, it was all for nothing. All this terrible stuff happened to him, and even my kids. It's funny. Caitlin, my youngest, was like, when we were watching A New Hope, she's like, I used to think of Darth Vader, and again, she had never seen movies as just like this bad guy, but she's like, oh, but it's Anakin under there, and I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's interesting? Since this was the first Star Wars I saw, I thought when I first saw this, I was confused because I was like, wait a minute, Darth Vader and Luke didn't fight each other. I thought they were supposed to fight each other. Like, isn't he's the father? Like, where's those scenes? And I didn't realize, that's an Empire. I thought that was all in this one. So that's why I was like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
This is just the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Chewie doesn't get a medal at the end of this movie, and that always pissed me off because he's my favorite character, and he did as much work as Han and Luke did. Come on, man.
I'll be 100% honest here. It never even crossed my mind. Like watching it, I never was like, oh, he didn't get a medal. Like until people brought it up, like it never even was like a thing in my brain.
Yeah,
Luke. But Luke, if it wasn't for Luke,
true, but
he's
it was a team effort.
It was a team effort, yeah, but Luke should.
Well, you heard the reasoning behind that, right? It came out. They said like, oh, well, we don't care about like those kind of possessions. That's why he didn't get it.
I don't know. I mean, like Chewie is like Han's buddy, so like they both get money when they do a deal and shit. It's not like Han keeps it to himself.
I mean, I think the real answer is at the time they were like, "Oh, he ain't a person." He's just
all right. Wow.
I think,
which is I know. Like it's funny because like they also say that about droids in the movie. They don't allow droids in the cantina.
This movie is about segregation.
Yeah. I mean, that's like they say like we don't take the kind to your droids. Like they gotta go outside.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Which is funny. Not in the Dan, have you seen The Mandalorian yet?
Have I seen
No,
what?
he hasn't.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say like, okay, I won't spoil it then, because there's a funny callback to that with the droids. Like it's changed now in the universe since then. Oh, you guys talked about this. You guys mentioned this when we're doing the prequels about the continuity with the lightsaber. When that creature's arm gets cut off, you see blood,
right?
Which makes no sense. Because,
and again, why did George not fix that?
I don't know, man. He still has never fixed that.
I don't get that.
Because it's not even that. Like you never see blood. You don't see blood in Empire or
right.
Return of Jedi.
You know that's a simple fix right there.
Yeah, and it probably caused confusion because like it's like that's the first time you see a lightsaber being used to attack somebody.
Right.
Yeah, he should have fixed that.
I always thought like when the special editions came out, I was like, when that scene came out, like why did they?
I mean, even for the Blu-rays like that too.
Right.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, it's even though it's supposed to be meant for kids, you see like this creature's arm gets cut off and it's just blood. You see Uncle Owen and Emperor's skeletons, which that shocked me as a kid. Like, oh my god, you see skeletons? Damn.
I don't know how. Okay, look, this is just a theory, but I know people are going back to Last Jedi. How people, the bombs fell in space.
Right.
How they gravity. Well, the argument to that is how, even in this movie, how do lasers go through space? Like it'd be like a bullet, but it's a laser. When they shoot in space, shouldn't the laser just kind of float?
Well, there's no sound in space, so it's like
right.
So it's like it's science fiction at the end of the day. It's science.
That's what I'm saying. It's Star Wars. It's like
it's a fantasy.
I think logic is kind of out the window. At
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, true. Yep.
People move stuff around with their mind, so it's like you're gonna question like how things floated in space,
In real life.
sounds, and everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
People Mary Poppins in this movie.
But actually, you know, because I remember like the first time I ever heard of Star Wars was the Muppet Babies.
Oh my
They
god!
had a, they,
And, Annie,
I love
when
the
the-
Muppets, man.
yeah, when they had an episode dedicated to Star Wars. Yeah, that was that was the first. And I think it was it Animal who was the Darth Vader. I believe so.
I thought Annie was Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I know Animal was like somebody. I forgot. I used
Well,
to.
Peter was C-3PO.
I'm guessing Kermit was Luke.
Man, we just want to watch that episode again. I swear.
Muppet, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a way, Muppet Babies was the one that got me. That was one of the reasons why they got me in Star Wars in the first place. Yeah, and in Ghostbusters, because they had like the Marshmallow Man footage in their Muppet Babies. That's cool. But yeah, I mean, this is again nothing much to add, other than like nitpicks like well, it's so easy how they find a weakness of the Death Star, but like again that was answered in Rogue One, which that was kind of cool. So it honestly fixes that problem for me, even though it's just a nitpick. I don't know, whatever. But the thing is like, whoa, what about the other Death Stars? No, it's good, yeah. But yeah. I mean, Star Wars is a classic for a reason, you know?
Absolutely.
This holds 8. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say it opened the 8 point what?
8.6 on IMDb.
Yeah, it's in the top 10, right? The whole time.
Well, apparently, from what I read up on the budget, it said like $775 million. I don't know if that includes like when it was re-released again.
I think.
So I looked up 1977 in film and worldwide total around that time. Before it was re-released again with the special editions, it was $221 million worldwide.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
At the time, it was the highest grossing movie of all time.
And before that, it was Jaws, and then it passed.
And then, like, you guys know what the movie that passed this one before the re-release?
Wait, what was the question again?
The movie that surpassed Star Wars before the re-release.
What was the movie?
It was E.T. the extraterrestrial.
I think I read that on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, they released that with new footage.
Yeah, too. Walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
CGI.
Yeah.
ET.
I've never seen that version of E.T.
I have.
I haven't either.
There's no point.
I have.
Uh-huh.
Not good.
Because you can actually still get the original version easily, so it's like there's not really no point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Star Wars.
That's
Episode 4, New Hope.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
So yeah, after it broke records and it blew everybody's minds and it opened imaginations, 3 years later we got a sequel, which was Empire Strikes Back, or Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, whichever you want to call it. And this one was directed by Irving Kershner. It was not directed by George Lucas. He was still involved. He was the story and everything.
Yep.
That's right.
So I don't. Who wants to start on this one?
And surprisingly enough, the guy that he also directed, I think the last film that this guy directed was RoboCop 2.
That's sad.
This is a good sequel, though. That's a good sequel.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Shut up.
Not a good movie. It is not a good movie. Granted, it's better than. Granted, it's better than 3 in the remake, but
Come on. Anything's better than 3 in the remake. Come on now.
yeah, but the original is way superior in every way.
Not Robert John Burke.
I know, but I'm saying the original is
Like,
superior in every way.
You don't like RoboCop 2, Alex? You should just get off the stream right now.
All right, bye.
Oh my god.
I hate that little shit.
That That kid pisses me off.
Yeah,
too.
okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah,
Thomas,
and he
why don't you go
got
first?
off too easy. He got off too easy. But that's my. I digress.
Drop it.
Yeah,
Thomas, you want to go first on Empire?
Empire.
Well, yeah, I'll go first on this one because I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned this before we did the live stream, before we went live prequels, or I mentioned it during the actual stream on the prequels itself, but I mentioned that this was actually my favorite of the Star Wars films, Empire Strikes Back, because this was the first one that I ever saw. I remember the first time I ever saw the film. I know my cousins back in my cousin back in the day had VHS tapes, and I remember he taped the Star. They had like a little Star Wars marathon. I forget what channel it was on, but they had a Star Wars marathon of the original trilogy on, and he recorded it on VHS tape. So the first time I ever saw this was over his house because we were having like a Star Wars marathon, and we went to watch Star Wars. So the first one that I saw personally was Episode 5, and that was the first one he saw too, because that was his favorite one. But so I saw this on VHS tape, probably like when I was like in middle school or something like that. Yeah, and this is the first one I ever saw. Empire Strikes Back is a great movie. I do think it's my favorite Star Wars film. Like I said, definitely Darth Vader definitely has a bigger role in the movie compared to New Hope, and everybody does a great job. Mark Hamill comes back as Luke. You have Harrison Ford as Han, Carrie Fisher as Leia, Billy D. Williams as Lando. You have Dave Prowse as Darth Vader, Peter Mayhew as Chewie, and of course you have people. You have Kenny Baker as R2-D2. Like everybody comes back from Episode 4, does a great job. I definitely do think this is a step up from New Hope. Once again, John Williams does come. I think John Williams does come back to do this. Yeah,
Yep.
John Williams once again does a great score. And even though this one was not directed by George Lucas, I think Irvin Kershner did a really pretty decent job directing the movie. I never really knew until much later, because I always thought, like, when I heard of the name Star Wars, I always thought of George Lucas, and I could have swore George Lucas directed each and every Star Wars film, but it wasn't until like not that long ago I figured out that Episode 5 was not directed by George Lucas. Now I'm trying to remember, like, it said I think I said it right here. Yeah, after the success of New Hope, Lucas hired Lee Brackett to write the sequel and things like that. I don't know how.
Jackson also co-wrote it.
Okay. Yeah, but of course this is the one with the Galactic Empire. I'm just reading off my notes. Sorry if I'm looking down. I'm just reading off my notes. But this one, of course, Episode 5. It's the Galactic Empire under Darth Vader and the Emperor. They're pursuing Luke and the Rebel Alliance, and of course Darth Vader is going after Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Luke has to study the Force with the Jedi Master with Yoda, and of course Darth Vader captures Luke's friends, and then he has to make a choice on whether to complete his training, become a Jedi, or he has to confront Darth Vader and save his friends. I mean, the story says for itself. I mean, Empire Strikes Back is without a doubt a great Star Wars film, and there's a big reason why it's my favorite. I love the character of Darth Vader. I really do think the characters in this are a lot better than New Hope. I just think it was much more of a bigger movie than New Hope. I think the story was great. This is probably my favorite storyline of a movie within the Star Wars universe. I love with the Galactic Empire and Yoda and training with Luke. Great stuff between Yoda and Luke, and the back and forth between the two of them is fantastic. And and it's a great battle between going up against Darth Vader and all that stuff. I mean, it's really a film that doesn't need no explanation at all. I mean, and I've seen a few people that I've talked to before say that when I think about like Star Wars, what's your favorite your favorite film of the Star Wars universe movies, and then people always seem to say either Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back, and very understandably so. I mean, those are my top two favorite Star Wars films if I had to do like a list. These would definitely be the top two. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's a great movie. I love the story. Really great action sequences. I think it's definitely a bigger movie than New Hope. There's more action. I do and things like that. Once again, really decent direction. Even though, and George Lucas did a great job coming up with the story. It was definitely a really big hit in 1980. Correct? It was released in '80. Yeah, definitely a really big hit for 1980. Granted, and on top of that too, like I said, John Williams' score, great. Just a wonderful score once again, nails it right on the head. The cast is great, and on top of once again, with Chewbacca and Han Solo, their back and forth is really good. Carrie Fisher as Leia knocks it out of the park once again. I mean, overall, this is just the complete package for me. I mean, this is just a great movie. And it's definitely the Star Wars film that I've seen the most out of all of them, right? Just a little bit ahead of Return of the Jedi. They're definitely the top two most watched Star Wars films I've seen. And there's definitely a reason for why. Overall, I definitely give this a thumbs up, and this is without a doubt my favorite Star Wars film, not just of all time, but also my favorite Star Wars film of the original trilogy. So that's really what I got to say about Empire Strikes Back. Definitely gets 2 thumbs up from me. So fantastic. All right, we go next. You want to go next, Alex, or?
Sure. Okay, well, it's funny because I saw the original trilogy. This was the one that I saw last, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I actually saw Return of the Jedi first, and that was by mistake, actually. Because I didn't. Even when the special editions came out in '97 on VHS, the covers didn't have the numbers on them. If you guys remember that, they did.
I think I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Oh, I
numbers then.
It wasn't until, like the DVDs came out. It didn't have numbers on them. So that's why I wasn't sure which one came after the original Star Wars. So I was like, oh, I guess it's Return of the Jedi. And I saw that one first before Empire. And I'll get into that stuff when we get into Return of the Jedi. But this one, also because out of the original trilogy, I've seen the least. But it's funny.
What? You saw this one the least?
The least, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was the polar opposite.
But like it's funny because, and like almost in every way, Empire is like objectively better than New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why, but for some reason I always preferred the original a little bit more. But this one, like, even though I should prefer this one more, but it's like I don't know why. But
why should you? It's just that they're all good.
I know, but I'm saying like this is like the.
You're just going with the majority.
This is like this is the way it is. I mean I know that this one is.
If you ask anybody, 90% of the time you're probably gonna get people saying their favorite is Empire. I mean that's just usually how it is.
Yeah.
I could have swore that like the
holiday special.
I could have swore like the majority of the favorites I thought the majority of people who say their favorite one is Return of the Jedi.
Oh.
I think I would say probably
like when I think about a lot of people say Return of the Jedi is their favorite.
It's mostly Empire. But it's like it does what a sequel is supposed to do. It expands on the story.
Absolutely.
Characters. They progress.
Definitely.
The stakes are higher and more dangerous. The stuff with Yoda and Luke and Dagobah system, like, man, like, I just like it expands on the spirituality of the Force, and it's so beautiful. Especially the scene where he's telling Luke, "You can move your ship,"
mm-hmm.
and then he says, "I'll try." Like, no, do not. There's no try. And he does try, but he doesn't do it. And then at first, you see, like he is kind of like a getting the ship out of the swamp, and then you see Yoda like glee up, like, oh, he's doing it, but then he doesn't, and he's like, oh, and then Yoda does it for him, and then you get that great line when he says, "I can't believe it," and he says, "That's why you fail." The simple dialogue like that is great.
Yeah.
And the puppet Yoda, I mean, we kind of touched on this when we we're talking about the prequels. Like the puppet Yoda, it's superior to a CGI. Like, I understand like the advance of CGI, you get a more expressive face and all that. You get the fight scenes, and I get that. But like the puppet's actually there. And it feels right.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, Frank Oz, he already at the time he already started doing the Muppets and all that, so he experienced. So it's like, and of course that character Yoda is interesting. I mean, this is before the prequels came out, so it's like you already get the sense like, oh, this creature was one of the most powerful Jedis, in his time. And the stuff with Leia and Han is great. The back and forth.
Definitely.
Which you get a little glimpse of that in A New Hope, how they don't like each other, and in this one, like they've been around each other for a while, so they started liking each other.
It's more natural.
She pretends not to, and back and forth is great. And C-3PO, he's the biggest cock blocker in the galaxy. My God, and he doesn't realize it.
I like the scene where Solo forces himself on Leia.
Don't look.
Yeah.
My hands are dirty too. You like me because I'm a scoundrel. It's just like in Rocky 1 when Rocky forces himself on Adrian. It's like in that time frame, people thought that was like okay.
Hey, nowadays it'd be like, oh no.
I see it with Rocky. I don't really see it with this movie though.
They were raped. All of them were.
Oh, come on. He definitely...
Jabba even raped her.
He wasn't...
God.
Hey, at least Rocky told Adrian, he's like, I am going to kiss you. You don't have to kiss me back. In this movie, Han just went in for it without even...
Why did Rocky even say that when he was just going to do it? Like, he didn't have a choice. He's like, I'm going to kiss you, but you don't have to kiss me back. It's like, well, I have no damn choice. You're going to kiss me.
Wait a minute. He said it because he's a gentleman.
I mean, the big difference is like...
Oh, my God, that's right.
I mean, the big difference is they already knew each other for like a while now.
No, yeah, but okay. I'm joking. I'm half joking. It is funny though. I mean, if I just watch this,
I don't think rape is funny.
No one thinks rape is funny. It's just the scene was funny because it almost seems like they're trying to force this.
I get what you say. Like at the time, it's a different time period.
Well, it's because it's like women, like, oh, women can't resist bad boys. Like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, your mouth says no, but your body says yes.
But even in today's standards, I don't see how the scene with Han and Leia is an issue. Again, like they have some history together already.
Issue is just
wait. So you're saying if you know someone over some time, it's okay to do that?
But it's not assault.
I mean, you're going to get your face.
Wait a minute. Why wasn't it?
Because she reciprocated.
Yeah,
wait.
You won't know.
Wait, he didn't know how she was going to react.
Exactly. He could have got slapped or even the tongue down his throat, which he got the tongue down his throat.
Yeah, but she liked it.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here just to be funny. It is. Listen, it is interesting though. Like nowadays, like that wouldn't fly. I don't.
No, not in today's generation. Definitely not.
Yes, I don't know. But yeah, but like you said, yeah, C-3PO is the biggest.
I think something just moved behind you, Alex.
No,
I saw something move. Did you see that?
That was the Force.
Where?
That's awesome. I love that.
Coast is clear.
I swear to God, I saw something move behind you.
Stop showing off. Stop showing off.
You're seeing things. You're imagining things.
Quit using that force tactic on me.
Yeah, you're weak-minded. What can you do? What can you say?
I'm a barbarian. Doesn't work with me. Only money.
All the money. But yeah, you guys. Okay, the lightsaber fight. Okay, you guys mentioned how, in comparison, the lightsaber fights in the original trilogy are blander. I didn't really go into the lightsaber fight in No New Hope. I don't really have issues with it because the way it's done, it's still tense. Like those two characters had a history
All
already.
I saw was a bunch of old men trying to whack their pains together.
Like,
That's all.
you're not gonna see, Alec Guinness and David Prowse jump around.
No, but there was no
point.
choreography at all.
That's
I
the
swear they
point.
were just like, okay, just.
Well, it doesn't. It's funny because like I'm not a fan of Red Letter Media, but they made you know who they are probably, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Plinkett, all that. They talked about the lightsaber fights in comparison. Like I agree. Like even though I like the prequel lightsaber fights, I agree the originals are better because there's more emotional weight to them. Yeah, but the episode 3 is one. There was emotional weight though to it. That one. That's one of the best ones.
You can tell Guinness really doing it because he didn't know anything about.
But it was about like two guys who knew each other before, and there's a lot of history. There's bad blood going on, and I still feel it when I watch it, even though it is dated.
And David Prowse was who really did it in New Hope, but he wasn't the lightsaber fighter in the other movies. They actually had a stunt guy.
Right.
Yeah, that's why it looked better, I feel.
Oh no, I agree. Then in fight in Empire and Return of the Jedi are better. And this one it's good. It's great.
No.
Yeah, like how Vader is setting a trap.
Something.
Sebastian
Sebastian Shaw, yeah. The like how Vader sets a trap for him at the end of this movie. And I like the way Luke just like he's very tense and anxious, so he whips up his lightsaber really quick, and Vader just like calmly just like that. I love that.
Yeah.
Little thing like that. And lightsaber fights I like. I mean, everyone talks about like the fight. Of course, we get the reveal like, oh, I'm your father. It's not Luke. I am your father. No, I am your father. Mandela effect again.
That was a big deal, though. That was a big deal.
Yeah, because every parody you see of Star Wars, when they parody that I'm your father, they always say the character's name and then I am your father. That's wrong.
Yeah.
It's like every parody gets it wrong.
Well, the parodies are doing it so that they can, I feel like, relate. So they're talking about Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But we get in this one we get the introduction of Lando.
Yeah.
Played by Billy D. Williams, and I like how he just comes in and just flirts with Leia the whole time. It's like, oh, you look good.
I'm surprised he didn't try to kiss her.
He's
He
suave.
kisses your hand.
Well, that's right. Wait, he was too busy, fucking robots. That's right. I forgot. My goddamn.
Yeah, and then it's funny, like when it's revealed that he sells them out to the Empire. He acts completely different about the movie. He's never flirtatious at all. Like, even in Return of the Jedi, he doesn't act well. He's more serious.
He's like a different person in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, it's a little bit. But yeah, and this was like the first introduction to the most overrated character in Star Wars, Boba Fett.
He is overrated. I don't care.
Does nothing.
I don't get it, really.
Like, in this movie, he literally does nothing.
He does a lot in like the expanded, like a lot of the books and comics and stuff. He does a lot, but he doesn't in the movies. It's like, how can people before all that came out? How can people just be like, yeah, Boba Fett? He doesn't do nothing.
Supposedly, the Christmas special came out after New Hope.
Yes,
right.
And that is where he was actually first introduced. So I think when that Christmas special first came out, because New Hope was a big deal, I think people were into that Christmas special.
But he didn't really do much there either, though.
Yeah, nobody likes that special.
the book canon. That's why Boba Fett's a popular character.
And he looks cool, but.
And the original voice is actually menacing. I actually liked it. I didn't like the redub.
Well, they had to make it like that because you know why.
I know, Jango Fett. Clones.
It was Kevin Nash.
It would have been funny if they redubbed it with the kid's voice.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
He's going to be dead, Tom Wee.
Yeah.
Put Solo on the ship.
Yeah. He done good to me, dead fire!
Fire! Fire! Dead fire! We're gonna get him.
So, like, Darth Vader just said, you know, I was there when your father got killed. That was hilarious.
His head fell off.
But yeah, and you know what's funny? This movie sets up Leia's ability to use the Force because she senses something's wrong when they go to Cloud City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Lando, something's off. Something's off about him. And Solo, who actually knows him, is like, nah, he's like that all the time. You know, we go way back. But she senses something was wrong.
And
And
we don't even know the next reveal until the next movie. So that's I don't think many people caught on to that.
Well, plus also Luke and Leia have that mind meld when he needs her help.
yeah,
Yeah. But I don't think people caught on to that
he specifically calls to Leia.
until the next movie.
True.
Right? He doesn't go like, oh, like he doesn't go like, oh, Ben, help me, or Yoda, Mr. Yoda. He says Leia. It was interesting. Like he knew like, oh, I sense something like Force. Like the only person that's closest is Leia, and she actually senses something. And yeah, you get that line of dialogue from Yoda when he says, "There's another." So you get clues already. It's gonna be Leia. But we at the time didn't know.
We never even mentioned the fact that when she kisses Luke, like we never even mentioned that. Like,
no, the characters don't mention that.
But I mean, again, that would be a big deal too nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I guess they didn't know any better, so I guess that's at least.
Yeah.
It came out in 1980. People were still doing the whole like, oh, who's Leia gonna go with, Han or Luke? Because then Dan revealed that Luke is her brother. What's funny because like I saw Return of the Jedi first, and then when they did that reveal, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That ruined it for you.
And then like when I see Empire, then after I was like, what the fuck? I was like, no one's gonna mention this. No one told me there's incest in this movie, in this trilogy. But yeah, it's one of those things like, oh, Lucas didn't plan on that one, I guess. Either that or he has some weird fetishes.
We don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, I got nothing else. Oh yeah, the Emperor first shows up in this one.
Oh, you mean that dumb-looking guy?
Do you guys prefer the special edition version of that?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to say this right now. I feel like Empire, offhand, all the editions were
Exactly
great additions, and two of them have improved the movie. One is the addition of Ian McDermott as the Emperor. That scene is freaking awesome. And how about the Wampa in the beginning?
Yeah, a lot of people don't like that.
Why?
I don't understand it either. He looked awesome. It was a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually agree with you.
Yeah. So I think Empire, those fixes were good.
The only change I don't like was the redubbing of Boba Fett's voice. Really.
Oh, see,
That's a small thing.
What about the Cloud City stuff? They added like new.
I'll get to that one.
Okay.
I didn't mind. I don't mind that really. But yeah, this was considered like a downbeat kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
It has like a and Han Solo, he doesn't get killed, but he gets captured, and now they have to rescue him. Luke finds out Vader is his father. Is he Vader telling the truth, or he's just bullshitting? It's one of those things at the time before we get to it.
It kind of ends weird too. It kind of ends like on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't know if you guys are joking, but did you guys dislike Yoda acting like a fool?
What are you talking about? I never.
When he was introduced.
I like to think in my mind that was an act of most of it, because if you notice, all of a sudden he calms down when Luke's like, I don't know what I'm doing here, and all of a sudden he calms down and he's like, oh, you're not ready, and that's when Ben shows up, and then he's acting more like Yoda. I almost feel like
he's different though in the prequels. Like he's more serious,
right? But I feel like he has some of that. What he's been by himself so long. I don't know what syndrome that's called.
I feel like isolation. Like
like he has kind of gone a little cuckoo. I definitely think some of that is from being on that island all by himself for so long.
Yeah.
I picture him. He would just meditate for like every day. That's all.
Like I guess when you feel that like that sense of isolation, it's kind of like cabin fever.
I have no problem with
Swamp
Yoda.
fever in this case.
I still think he looks the best. I think he looks the best in Empire than
I agree. And it's funny because like he's a CG character in the prequels, and then he goes to Dagobah, he turns to a puppet. So like I guess in Dagobah long enough, you become a puppet.
In the prequels, he looks, to me, it's like on and off.
He was younger, right? Yeah.
He looks good, and then he looks bad.
He looked fine in episode 3. Like I said, I don't really.
Yeah, the episode 3, the technology got better, so I think he looked good.
Yeah, but I always prefer the puppet. So, and Frank Oz, the best.
I in advance told my kids now, Yoda, you're gonna see him. He's gonna be a puppet now instead, because I told him it filmed first, so that was a little jarring to them. But
yeah, it is. Yeah. So, I got nothing else to say. Empire is a great movie. So
it is.
Yeah, it's good. It's considered a sequel, one of the sequels of all time. So there you go.
My favorite part of Empire is the whole Hoth scene, like with the AT-ATs and AT-STs. Like how they pulled that off was amazing with those big machines. I was always like afraid of those things. Like I remember, but they go to Hoth because that's where the hidden base of the rebels were. The whole Wampa edition was great. I think when they cut off his arm and they show him like, and again, it was seared.
Did you see blood? Was there blood?
There was blood, but it was like on his fur a little bit, but it wasn't like drip.
Yeah, there wasn't a pool like in A New Hope. There was there was. There's a pool in A New Hope.
Yeah.
So,
but the Wampa scene I like. And then people talk about the controversial Han with a saber.
I love that.
I don't understand the big deal, to be honest.
I didn't know that was a big deal. I thought that was awesome.
Because they said if he would have used the saber, it would have kept going, like the blade. Yeah,
you can't because he doesn't.
Because he can't control. But like, how do we know that that's what Jedi do, though?
Well, we don't, because look in The Force Awakens, Ben uses it and it doesn't do that
exactly.
either.
So they.
Yeah. But it's cool. It's the only time you get to see Han Solo use his lightsaber. That's cool.
But this goes again. We'll talk about this more in The Last Jedi. But then again, there's no disregard for animals in this goddamn movie, because Wampas, and then the Tauntaun dies, and Han sitting there slicing them open and sticks Luke inside of him. It's like, that we'll get to that in The Last Jedi.
Well, he had to do that to survive.
Exactly, but I'm just saying, like nowadays they'd be like, oh, the poor Tauntaun, like, oh, cruelty, that's cruel.
I think they should have edited it so the Tauntaun was still alive, and then they should.
They should. I realized he was dead, but still.
Yeah, he died. It was like this.
People don't care about that.
That never bothered me. Like, the guy sliced him up. Survive.
I honestly thought the love story was handled a lot better than Anakin and Padme's love story.
Oh yeah, it just feels natural.
The reason I think it was just natural in Empire, like she was playing hard to get, but at the same time, it felt natural that she would say the stuff she would say, and then
it was real dialogue.
The dialogue, yes.
Your worshipness. I like he always says that. Calls her that.
Yeah, that was great. The whole Luke going to train, Yoda was great, and then confronts Vader, and then finds out, he's his father. That stuff was awesome. That was like a turning point. The effects were done. I think the effects were, I want to say they were a lot better than New Hope as far as like sets and then models. I think they were better. I'm trying to think of a scene. Oh, the Emperor. Like, this was the first time we get to see the Emperor at all, and though I didn't hate the original guy who did the Emperor. It's just that it makes more sense to have Ian McDermott there because he is.
Ian McDermott in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, you have to have some continuity, but
yeah.
So that was good. The Cloud City thing, like, I think to me it's like sometimes during those scenes it kind of slows down for me. And those scenes, especially when they added a few things to it, they added more shots of Cloud City in the special editions, like with the ships going over, and that's, I guess, fine. But you can tell the CG environments again. That's what stands out most about these movies is when you add CG to the movie, it's like you're watching two different generations of film being mashed together.
Right.
And sometimes it just doesn't work. But Boba Fett, yeah, like we already discussed, like I think he's an overrated character. Didn't really do much.
Yeah, Darth Vader did most of the work.
Well, they even had other assassins there too, like
yeah,
IG-8. They had Bosk, who was like this reptile. They I wish they would have done more with them too. Like, but see, there's not enough time to do all that.
It would have been kind of if Disney Plus would have done like their own special edition, they would have probably added the Mandalorian in the background there somewhere.
That's true.
Yeah.
All in all, I think Empire is probably the most grounded Star Wars film out. Like I know it's a different director, but I'm just saying, like, it just seems like more like the characters' dialogue. I thought they were better than both New Hope and Return of the Jedi. Like, I think the dialogue, the stuff they were saying, the writing was really good, and it shows. But yeah, not really much more to talk about. It's just that it's a great film, and a lot of people say, yeah, it's my favorite.
Would you say the writing's better because it's not Lucas like writing the screenplay?
No, not necessarily. I just think having some fresh blood in there, given their take on it, I think did help the situation. I'm not saying Lucas is a bad writer.
No.
I'm just saying that it's just different. The guy had different lines and ideas probably. So I think it shows a little bit. But again, if you compare the original trilogy as the writing compared to the prequel trilogy, even that's directed by George Lucas, you could tell a difference. I just think George was very rusty with the prequels. I just think he
didn't have Lawrence Kasdan and some of those other writers with him for the prequels. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know he has great ideas, and
yeah,
maybe he had people to bounce stuff off of as far as the dialogue goes in the original trilogy. Maybe in the prequels, he had pretty much 100% control of what everything was going on. Maybe he didn't have anyone to tell him. People were probably scared to go up to George in the prequels and be like, "Oh, this line's stupid. You should probably change it."
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about James Earl Jones as the voice Darth Vader. You guys want to get into that?
He sucks.
It's honestly how
He's
they
one of
had
the reasons
different.
why the voice that character's iconic.
Darth Vader's very complex. You had a guy playing him in studio, you had a guy doing the stunt work, and you had a guy doing the voice. Like, it's like he's it takes a lot to make Darth Vader. Yeah, but you can't have, in my opinion, you cannot have Darth Vader without James Earl Jones. You just can't. I mean, it's iconic, like Freddy, like Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger when he talks.
I'll talk about that.
I'm done.
Oh,
the movie gets a 0. Okay.
Down there with A New Hope is the worst the whole time.
New Hope is way better. Fuck you.
But yeah, like you mentioned, like it's a mixture of the voice, the costume, and his official theme song. What's it called? It's not even called Imperial
Mark.
And
John Williams.
His breathing.
Yep.
Yeah, that too. Make sure those 4 things. That's what makes him.
Oh, and didn't they add a scene? Or wait, I don't know if they add the scene where we see his mask off.
No, that's it. That's in the
That
movie.
was the original.
Okay, yes. That, like, I always remember that I was like really curious, like, oh my god.
Yeah, they just give
Like-
you a little hint.
Like is he burned? Like, what's going on with his head? Like, it was
See,
yeah.
it was different with me because I saw Return of the Jedi first. So I was
Yeah,
like,
you cheated.
I have different experience, yeah. But
Dude,
yeah,
I want to show you this. I have had this for a long time, but I have a figure Darth Vader without his mask. Then,
spoiler alert.
but then here you go. Look, you put this on, put his
Sorry.
mask on, and you can have it on. So you can take it off.
That.
Yeah.
How old is that?
I don't know. I think this came out during when the prequel came out. I think I got it in 1999. Probably.
I'm about to say, like, Rob, where did you get it from? Did you get it from like a store?
Walmart.
Walmart. Okay.
Like around when the episode 1 came out.
Because episode 1 released all these figures, like Mace Windu I have up there,
Right.
and all these different figures, and Darth Vader was one of them. And yeah, you could remove his mask. I just thought that was really cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
Well, you really like Captain Phasma.
I don't know why.
We'll get into her when we get
I
into
don't know why I like her. Well, when Force Awakens came out, she was a big deal, but it's like,
yeah, she's you know what? She's practically the female Boba Fett. That's really
well,
it.
I'll give her. You know what? Maybe she's a little more interesting than Boba Fett. I will say.
Because she has more dialogue, but that's really it.
Gwendolyn Christie.
But yeah, go ahead, Dan. You haven't got a chance to talk.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone's talked a lot about. There are some things I want to touch on. So, yeah, Empire Strikes Back has definitely a more darker tone than A New Hope. They went pretty dark in this movie. I remember watching it, actually thinking like, oh, some of this stuff's kind of creepy, like what they're doing. You know, like the Wampa in the beginning, and then you have the Empire is pretty much winning every battle in this movie, which is also just like it has almost like there's like a doom cloud over the whole movie. You know, they just can't seem to get an upper hand.
Yeah, they're always like one step ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, we get the cool Wanda scene, which was creepy as a kid. Yeah, the Imperial walkers. That was just amazing. Like those were creepy too.
Definitely.
I will say, yeah, I believe you could tell that all the actors were kind of hitting their stride at this point as far as knowing their characters and
definitely a much more of a step up, like a progress.
I forgot to mention that meteor worm. Remember when they're inside the stomach of
that
it?
scene creeped me out when I was a kid. So
I agree with that. Absolutely. Even Dagobah is pretty creepy.
Yeah.
You know, he goes in that.
Against R2, yeah.
Yeah, and then R2 in the swamp again. There's some creature underwater that you don't see.
Yeah.
So definitely a very dark undertones to this film. You kind of already mentioned the Imperial March. Darth Vader, he's at the forefront of this movie, and I feel like this is the movie where he became the legend of a badass or an evil villain.
Yeah.
You know, he's always killing the commander or the admirals because they're failing him. I feel like James Earl Jones definitely locked in on the character more in this movie. If you watch this movie, and I'm going to also just say briefly Return of the Jedi, he's a lot more calm and sinister. Where you look at A New Hope, there's times in A New Hope where he raises his voice, where he wouldn't do that normally. You know, like, where's the ambassador? Like, tell the ship apart, I want them alive. Like, he doesn't talk. Watch Empire Return of the Jedi, he's a lot more calm and intimidating. Like, he doesn't lose his cool.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor.
Yeah, see, it's like that.
He's always waving his finger, too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that was better. You have the big reveal that, you know, Luke is his son. That I feel like is one of the most memorable things. And again, I feel like that's another reason why people were like blown away, like it was a twist, you know. So people remember that as far as the movie goes. You get Luke's hand getting cut off. That was just like you didn't. That's a shock. Like holy crap! Like the hero gets his hand cut off. Like I said, so many things where the movie is going in the direction that you wouldn't think it goes in. And I specifically remember this. I can't say for sure if this was the first time I saw this movie or not, but I remember I was at my grandma's house and it was on TV and I was watching Empire Strikes Back. I remember when the movie ended, I was like, I'm like, what? Like, that's how it ends? Because it ends on a low note. Like, okay, Luke barely escapes. They're in trouble, and then Han has been captured and frozen in carbonite, and that's the end of the movie. You're just like, what the hell? Like, how can the movie end like this?
Thinking, like, why did Obi-Wan lie to Luke?
Right, you're just like all this stuff, you know. So again, it's just like it's a different type of movie, like a surprise in that manner. We haven't really talked about. We got to see new force powers in this movie. We got to see, you know, things being lifted like a ship. You know, like we didn't know. I mean, like the only thing in the New Hope was Obi-Wan. He made a metal sound off in a distance when he tried to make the stormtroopers go over there. But we didn't see anyone ever lift anything like that. We also see Luke get to do like a super jump when he was fighting Darth Vader. By the way, that fight scene was it's short, but it's enough to keep it interesting. You know, you get the fight at the carbonite unit. Then they go into the underbelly, and another new force power where Vader's standing there and he's throwing shit at Luke, and Luke's getting hit. Like that's cool. Then they're fighting on that overhang. Yeah, that's all cool. And then the side story, which I think that's what happens sometimes in these movies, where like, oh, the side story is maybe not as interesting as the main story, but you get the side story with the Millennium Falcon and all the other characters, and that's very interesting as well. You got the meteor cave that you already mentioned. Again, if I had to say a personal nitpick for me for this movie, it is Cloud City. I feel like the movie slows down a little too much once they get to Cloud City. But I won't say I don't feel like the added CGI in those scenes. I don't feel like that stood out as like unlike A New Hope, where the CGI does stand out. I didn't feel like in this movie it wasn't enough for me to say, oh, okay, that really sticks out like a sore thumb. But the Cloud City, whenever that scene comes up, I'm always in my mind like I feel like the pacing slows down a little bit here. And I can't say I ever was a big fan of Lando. Like, I mean, he's fine, but I'm not like, and I probably associate him with Cloud City, and because I feel like there's a little bit of flow in there, I'm not like a big Lando fan. But, trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to mention.
But for a character that doesn't have that much screen time, he doesn't come in like halfway through the movie. He has his own character arc. Like he betrays them to save his own skin, but then he helps them out. And
it's like it might have been better to have him earlier on and then do a betrayal and then turn around like he did. Right. But it's very third act. Like third act, here he is, he's a friend, now he's not, now he's helping him out. Yeah. Yoda that's probably one of the most memorable new characters, and all that stuff on Dagobah is cool. We get to actually see Luke, actually training as a Jedi, like learning the Jedi way. Alex, you already mentioned like we're getting more of the mythology behind the whole Jedi, and really that's the basis of the franchise in this point. Like everything branches off from the knowledge of this movie. So I think I covered everything I wanted to. Let's see. I
gotta say, those creatures that attack C-3PO and like tear him apart, those little guys, are they the same race as the Nick Nolte character in The Mandalorian? Rob?
They might be.
They look like him.
They look like him, but I'm not sure.
Imagine they're like, hey, this droid belongs to us. I have spoken.
Yeah, I have spoken.
Yeah.
But I think that's all I have. This movie has 8.7, so it's a 0.1 ahead of A New Hope on IMDb.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one is in the top 10 of all time in IMDb.
It might be. We need to look it up.
You mean like highest grossing of all time in 1980?
No, he means like rating, fan rating.
Yeah.
Well, it was the biggest hit of 1980.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It beat out films like Airplane, Stir Crazy, things like that.
I mean, it was the sequel to the biggest movie ever. So
Yeah.
So, Alex, you did. It's number 14 top rated movie on IMDb.
okay. I thought it was top 10. Well, I haven't looked at that list in like years, so I was like,
A New Hope is number 26.
okay. Well, I would consider both A New Hope and Empire like my top 10 like favorite films like of all time, like ever.
Like what else would be in like your top 10? But like besides like
I
New
can't
Hope,
give that away. I mean, like, what would you do with like top 10 eventually a show?
I would say like with like Clerks.
That would be our final show ever. If we ever decide to cancel the show, like the list should be top 10 films of all time. And then
With like Clerks being there.
I can't say.
I'm sure
You
Clerks.
just fucking to reveal it now.
I'm sure Clerks. I'm sure Clerks would have to be
Both
somewhere.
original Star Wars never earned that damn. Yeah.
I'm sure Clerks has to be in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Oh well. Anyway, unless you guys got more to say about Empire, then I'll just move on to it.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. I know I didn't say the fucking opening crawl because I forgot. But
What the hell, Alex?
I mean, Thomas kind of said it. He kind of like
Well, you know what? I kind of did read it off my notes.
you sort of read it like in your own way. So let's just say that counts.
Good.
All right.
Well,
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. So this movie ended on a cliffhanger, like you said, and then people had to wait 3 years later, 3 long, excruciating years, for the next one, Return of the Jedi, which was funny. It was originally titled Revenge of the Jedi. You guys know your Star Wars trivia, but Lucas changed it at the last minute because he felt like no, Jedi getting revenge is not right, so he did Return of Jedi.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think it was a good movie.
I mean, eventually used revenge.
I do think Return of the Jedi is a better title.
Yeah. So this one, Luke Skywalker has returned to his home planet of Tatooine in an attempt to rescue his friend Han Solo from the clutches of the vile gangster Jabba the Hutt. Little does Luke know that the Galactic Empire has secretly begun construction on a new armored space station, even more powerful than the first dreaded Death Star. When completed, this ultimate weapon would spell certain doom for the small band of rebels struggling to restore freedom to the galaxy. ... All right, who wants to go on this one? Seems like
Well, I went first. Empire Strikes Back.
Thomas went first, so one of you guys.
Yeah, I went.
Go ahead.
Alex. Why don't you start?
sure, I'll do that. Like I mentioned before, I saw this one before Empire, so like the first act in Jabba's Palace, I was like confused because I only seen A New Hope, so I was like, wait a minute, how did Han Solo end up like this? Han and Leia are a couple now. Who's the black guy? What the fuck is going on? What the hell's going on? Like, and I was like, oh, and Obi-Wan is a liar. Like, and what else?
Who's this green thing?
and
Right?
What green thing?
You didn't know who Yoda was either.
I seen episode 1 by then, so I knew who Yoda was.
Oh, episode 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, poor, like, damn, Yoda's that old, shit. But I didn't know about the relationship between Yoda and Luke yet, so I was like, oh, I guess they know each other. And what else? Oh yeah, since it was the 1997 special edition, I saw that. I saw that one first. So I gotta say this, like, even at the time before I knew like changes and all that stuff, like the song number and Jazz Palace, like even as a kid, I didn't like it because I was like, wait a minute, this feels wrong. Like honestly, my reaction was like, did I get the right movie? Is this like sing along version?
You're talking about the special editions?
Yeah. Like the
Okay.
song ones they have.
Just stop you for just 1 second. Out of all of the changes in the original trilogy, that's the one I disagree with the most. I hate that scene.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Well, there's two changes to music. There's that, and then there's the Ewok.
That I'm talking about the Jabba scene.
Right, yeah.
The double policy, I don't like it. It's even
I don't like it either.
even before.
So you don't like the fact that they added a CGI?
Right.
I mean, not the music, but I'm talking about. Not just the music, the song, but I'm talking about how they added a lead vocal. You know what I'm saying? Whatever her name, I don't remember her name.
And the other, like hairy alien that goes to the camera.
Yeah. It doesn't fit. It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't
feels completely out of place.
Uh,
Yeah. Like even as a kid, I was like, did I get the right movie?
Yeah, that seems.
I was like, why
I
is
don't know what they
this?
were thinking.
Is this the Star Wars the musical? What the hell am I watching?
might as well, Ben.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, like, and because I saw this one before Empire, so that didn't help. But I will say, like, even though this movie is not my favorite Star Wars movie, it's not even my favorite in the trilogy. This trilogy, it has one of the best moments in the entire saga. Like, there's 3 scenes in this movie that I consider like my personal favorite scenes in the entire saga. It's the Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker lightsaber fight.
Yeah, I thought Return of the Jedi was your favorite.
No,
What? Oh, I thought you said that.
that lightsaber fight is my favorite fight in the whole saga. That one is my personal favorite. That whole throne room scene, perfection. To the point where like even like at the end where Luke throws the lightsaber and says, "I'm a Jedi, like my father before me." Like that's my fucking favorite scene in the entire Star Wars saga. When Luke tells Leia their siblings, like that scene, like is also one of my favorites. Even though Leia says, oh, "I know, I've always known." What the fuck did you kiss him for? What's wrong with you? But no, that's great because it's great. It's the acting is great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what else? Oh, I mean, like, even though I don't like the music number in Jabba's Palace, the whole section of the movie, that's great.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. The creature effects, the puppets, the ones that weren't replaced with CGI, those are great. Especially Max Rebo, the blue elephant. That great. The music they actually, not the special edition song, but like the original song. Yeah, I think that belongs in a Disney movie, which is funny. Not but like the original song in the original scene is better, and the song they're playing after Chewie gets sold, like when they start playing music again, like I love that track. When they're flying in the desert in Tatooine, like the music, I like that. It's very like it's very reminiscent of, I guess, Dune, movie Dune. I guess I don't know. Interesting Dune. Yeah, I mean, this even though we eventually get movies after this, the sequel trilogy, I've always like final chapters in the trilogy. Even though they're never my favorites, but it's always more. I can't say they're more watchable, but there's something about them. Like I like it's all the finale. It's like everything comes to a close. It's the ending and all that. And I don't hate I actually like the Ewoks. I
do too.
I don't mind them. I know it's like they're all small, and they beat the Empire. And again, that's the point. Like it's small creatures standing up to a giant villain. Like the Empire.
Well, they're on their planet, just like the Gungans.
They have the advantage. Mm-hmm. And I actually, you know what though? Since I saw the special edition first, I've always liked that change, the music at the ending. I like that version.
The Nub Nub or whatever.
Yeah, I like
He's
the version.
saying he prefers the updated music.
You do?
I do. I feel it feels more finale, like a finale.
Yeah, but the original music, that's what I like grew up like. That's
I know, but I never saw the original version.
that's
I personally, I agree with Alex. I like the newer one over the Nub Nub song.
Yeah,
wow.
the song feels like when I first saw that, I was like, oh, it kind of feels underwhelming for a final movie.
Really?
I thought so. Like I would like the traditional version of the song.
But I mean, when they added that music, though, they also added more ending scenes too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other planets celebrating.
Yeah,
I like that. And then you get
Coruscant and
Coruscant, you see Naboo and all.
yeah, but then again, like since you haven't seen those planets since the prequels, it was kind of like, I mean, I can see why they did it to tie it all together, but in a way, it kind of felt like it didn't fit for me.
It looks a little jarring because like Naboo.
No, but I mean, like I said, you haven't seen those since the prequels, and like I always say, you mix that CGI stuff with this practical stuff, it just looks like you're watching a different movie to me.
Yeah.
It's like they combine the prequel and
yeah. I see what you're
It
saying.
makes it harder too, especially when you're used to what you know, and then they change
to
things.
change. Yeah.
And I forgot to say another scene that it's also one of my personal favorites in the entire saga is when Luke is talking to Vader for the first time since they had the last altercation, and he says like, "Come with me." He's like, "It's too late for me, my son." Like, oh my god, like David Prowse's performance, like even though you don't see his face, it's great body language, and also Jimmy Jones' voice performance as well. Like it matches up so well.
I always feel bad for David Prowse
Yeah, me too.
because he was never invited to like the premieres and stuff, and then they
He was uncredited with a lot of things.
they treated him bad like after.
Yeah,
the fact.
I heard that.
Well, I
Yeah.
even feel bad for Sebastian Stan too, or Shaw. I mean,
And like also because again, since I saw Return of the Jedi before Empire, like when they were about to show his face, I'm like, oh shit, what's it gonna look like? And it was nothing like I imagined it. I thought it was gonna be just a normal guy, you know, like whatever. But he was all burned up, all pasty white. Like I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's not James Earl Jones. And his voice is different. Why is he talking? But that's a sad scene when he does redeem himself by the end, and he dies. Mm-hmm.
yep.
Yeah, and Ian McDiarmid is the Emperor. Great.
Mm-hmm.
He has one of the best lines in the movies in this movie. Like he just the whole time he's just like egging on Luke
Yeah.
to strike him. And if you see I've never like as a kid I didn't notice this, but like after years, like Darth Vader like subtly is trying for Luke not to kill the Emperor. Like he blocks him. You think like, oh, he's protecting his master. Like no, he actually doesn't want Luke to go to the dark side. Really, like in a subtle way. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've ever looked at it that way, but
Wait, you mean when he blocks him?
Yeah, when he blocks him.
I think I think he's doing that because the Emperor is trying to turn him.
Yeah. Also, like if you see the scene in Empire when he tells Luke to join him, it's like he said like look, I don't want to kill you. Like we can be together and rule the galaxy. We can overthrow the Emperor, forget about him. Yeah, we can still be father and son. But
Right, they always overthrow.
why would you ever want to be on the dark side? You'd always have to be watching your back. Like my apprentice is going to turn on me.
It's funny they always want to overthrow everybody.
Yeah. So like even like Anakin mentioned that in episode 3, like I can overthrow
Yeah.
Palpatine. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Vader wanted to, well, the Emperor's sitting there in his chair. Vader could just went like this and just killed the Emperor. He could have just went.
And it's
There.
funny. Every time Luke talks back at the Emperor, Vader just looks at him like dude, shut up! Like stop talking. He keeps looking at him like.
There's like a couple
you're-
of movie Vader's like, I'm going to obey my master. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh damn! Is you're allowed to talk back to him? Like, yeah.
hold on.
Yeah. And And I used to rewind the part at the lightsaber fight where Luke loses his cool. Like after Darth Vader says oh, you have a sister, so maybe she's gonna join the dark side. And he goes crazy. The music, oh my god, I fucking love that scene.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it goes, and it just shows again. It's like Luke is not a perfect person. Like he would get angry, you know, and like he almost kills him. Like he cuts his hand off, and he just he has so much rage too.
Yeah, but it also shows that he never gives up either.
That's true, but he's conflicted. You know what I mean? Still flawed. Which again, that comes back in Last Jedi. You know, that's like. But yeah,
Mark Hamill, that's not his character. He never gives up. So fuck Last Jedi.
I mean, wanting to kill a relative. So, but yeah, you know what's funny? For years, I never understood how he made his green lightsaber. I thought he would just buy it off some street or something. Like, oh, they sell lightsabers, so he got one. So he actually did himself.
It's a different handle too. Like, yeah, it's a different.
Where you see him making that.
I could be mistaken, but wasn't there a logistics reason why they had him use a green lightsaber?
Because when you're master.
Well, no. I mean, I don't mean story-wise. I mean logistically. Like George Lucas was like, it had something to do with like green bounced off like their blue screen better than a blue lightsaber. Like when they were it had to do with the special effects reason. So like logistically, it had to do with because of filming. But then they wrote in the story, oh, okay, we're gonna, he'll just have a green lightsaber because he constructed a new lightsaber. That's why they have Vader have that line. Oh, I see you constructed a new lightsaber. But the reason it's green is because of the special effects.
See, I thought it was because just so it won't be any confusion with people. Like, oh, he's got another. Like people will probably think, oh, if he has a blue lightsaber again, people will think it's the same one, but it's not. I thought that was.
I definitely remember seeing some behind the scenes where it's like, because back then it wasn't a green screen; it was like they used blue screen.
Well, the whole master thing shouldn't even matter because if you remember in the prequels, a lot of those Jedi masters on the council didn't have green sabers.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it was to be blue or I think the Kyber crystals are just blue or green.
Because the way they had like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan is like, okay, Qui-Gon's the master; he has green. Obi-Wan is blue.
Yeah. Like, as a kid, I saw it that way too. Like, oh, green is master and blue is apprentice.
Right.
Yeah. But Attack of the Clones like threw that out the window.
And then Mace Windu walks in with purple. It's like, what the fuck, Mace?
Purple, bitch.
Mr. Glass.
Yeah, he loves purple.
But yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll say, like the puppet effects are top notch. Jabba and all
Jabba was most impressive.
Oh man, yeah.
The minions and the Rancor and everything.
Rancor,
And I fucking love the fact that Boba Fett dies like a bitch. I laugh at every time I see that.
You know what? I never even cared enough about Boba Fett to care one way or another. I just feel like he was such a minor character. I was just like,
and I know this is my opinion, but he is fucking dead. He got swallowed. He's fucking dead.
No. If Darth Maul gets cut in half, he's not dead.
That's true, man. If Darth Maul can survive being cut in half, anything's possible.
Darth Maul didn't get swallowed by the pit.
Let me tell you this: the Mandalorian would have survived.
Yeah, probably. That is the way. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I love Return of the Jedi.
Very understandable.
Nice. Yes, good.
So, what's next?
Good.
Okay. I do have to bring this up. The Emperor. There's a scene where the Emperor is talking to Vader, and then Vader says, "No." Emperor says, "Like why? Like I told you to wait for my call or whatever." He says, "Like, oh, I sense my son is in this planet." He's like, "Are you sure?" I don't sense anything.
It's like strange that I do not.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, like it's that love he has for his son. Like that's why he senses them so easily, and Emperor doesn't. Yeah, I didn't catch that for years until like I recently saw it. I was like, oh shit. isn't. I hope that comes back. I hope that's a callback in Rise of Skywalker, but we'll see. But yeah, who wants to go? Go ahead. I'm done. I'm done. For real, I'm done.
Rob's going.
I'll go next.
All right.
This is my favorite Star Wars film out of every single one. And I'm just going to go over. I'm going to go over a few things I didn't like. Of course, the music changes we already talked about. I don't like that they replaced Hayden Christensen at the end. And the reason is because I think it's kind of a slap in the face to Sebastian Shaw. I understand why they did it, because he wanted to show how Anakin, when he first turned to the dark side, how he's kind of like replenished now, like he's good again.
Yeah, the last time he was good was when he was young Anakin.
But see that doesn't make sense either, because that's not the last time he was good. The last time he was good is when Luke was finding that there was good in him. So, in my opinion, I think he should have stayed the way he did.
Maybe they didn't want. I guess if they went that route, though, wouldn't he be like a bald, scarred guy?
No.
No, but it's spirit, though.
No, his spirit. He is who he is. He would be the same age. I'm saying, like, yeah, he wouldn't look the same. He wouldn't be bald and stuff. I'm just saying that's why he looked the way he did. But I mean, I think throwing Anakin in there, it doesn't make sense, because then the other guys are all old, but he's young. It just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was an unnecessary change, but
yeah, and Luke wouldn't recognize him.
The only reason they kind of did that though too was to connect the prequels again.
Yeah.
I mean that's I think that's the only reason.
Yeah.
And I know some people don't mind that change, but I didn't think it was a big deal either about the Ewoks, like about how they I guess they blinked or whatever. Like I honestly didn't catch that at first.
Wait, people didn't like that they added blinking?
Yeah.
Why?
Because
yeah, but it's like, well, it's like you don't even know.
Because they're people in suits, so
Yeah.
it's like it did.
Yeah, but they're not supposed to be people in suits. They're supposed to be living beings.
Yeah.
I would say it's a good addition.
I didn't even notice.
It's like it's just a minor change though.
Yeah, I didn't even notice either. I can't believe people would complain about
Is that in the
Yeah.
Blu-ray edition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think of other like additions. Oh, like the Sarlacc pit they added.
I like that.
That's a good because it was just a hole before, so that was a good.
Yeah, but it is weird seeing like CG and it's like I don't know.
Well, I don't know that. At times that didn't look bad though, like the CG of that monster or the like the one scene that scared me all the time was the Rancor. Like that scene when he ate that pig. Like, that part was like crazy. Like I remember, being scared of that. But like as far as like the fights, this has the best fight. Like it's in confrontation, I would say, out of the. I think all the Star Wars films, like the best confrontation with the Emperor. Even though Episode 3 definitely has a lot of great confrontations with him. But overall, I think you guys pretty much, or Alex, you pretty much touched on everything I was going to say. I think like the major complaints would be the music and then the whole Anakin thing. Other than that, like I think this movie is very, very entertaining. I will say this: I kind of thought that Han kind of was just there, like he didn't really have much to do other than disable the shield at the base. That's it. I kind of felt like he didn't really have much to do. The speeder bike chase was cool too. I like that.
Great scene.
Yeah,
I like how they fly up and they get killed.
I know.
I love how, like when they smash against a tree, like going super fast. It's just that's like satisfying.
I know Harrison Ford didn't really want to even be in the film.
Yeah, you could tell.
He wanted George Lucas to kill him off in that movie, and George refused.
Right. Yeah. One thing. Here's the thing, though. You know how like everyone disappears? Do you think Vader disappeared, or were they just burning his suit?
Well, yeah, because what
Because
about?
we don't know.
But Qui-Gon didn't disappear either.
Right, they burned Qui-Gon, but everyone else disappears. Yoda disappeared. Obi-Wan disappeared. Luke disappeared in the.
I have a theory. I think the people that we see disappear are the people that had learned before death how to become one with the Force.
Right.
But I mean, we see Anakin as a Force ghost, so it's like did he disappear or not? Like,
well, it's the thing. It's like when he's burning the Vader suit, you don't see his head. You know, it's like you see the.
He appeared. Well, he actually in the original one, Sebastian's already there. In this new version, no one's there, and then all of a sudden, after he's burning him, his spirit comes.
Okay.
So in the original, he was already there, though. So it's like I guess they kind of fixed that. So does that answer the question that maybe his body was still there?
I would say yes. Guessing. I would say yes in that because Anakin is obviously the chosen one and so powerful on his own. At some point right after death, he learned how to bring himself back. Would be my guess. And I think the reason Qui-Gon's body was there because we don't ever see Qui-Gon as a Force ghost. I think Qui-Gon was just able to communicate vocally beyond the grave. I always felt that way because Qui-Gon was the first to do it. But we don't see him be a Force ghost.
Well, maybe we'll find the answers to that, like in the Obi-Wan series.
Well, there's that deleted scene in Episode 3 where Yoda is communing with Qui-Gon, but Qui-Gon's not there. It's just vocally.
Right.
Because he did say to commute with him. He didn't say to.
Right.
See.
And another thing that kind of throws me off too is when Luke is looking at the Force ghost and then Anakin appears and it's young Hayden Christensen. He should be like, "Who the hell's that?"
I know.
Like he knows his father through seeing him, so it's like I kind of felt that was stronger having Sebastian there because he was talking to him. So it's like I felt like
their explanation probably is through the Force. He would know it's his dad.
I guess. Anyway,
so you hated the movie.
No, I did not like that part, but that's I know there are a lot of people who don't, but that's pretty much it. You've heard pretty much touched and everything. I like it. That's my favorite.
The Ewok stuff reminds me of Willow.
Well, that's because Willow did play him.
I know, yeah. I seen that movie once as a kid, and I still kind of remember it now. But yeah.
You must have been Force or been a menace too.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Right.
Next.
Thomas, you want to go or me?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Just reading off my notes here. Sorry. Yeah, but Return of the Jedi. This was, of course, the follow-up to Empire Strikes Back 3 years later in '83. Once again, really huge hit in '83. Was the highest grossing film once again of the year. It beat out a lot of other films like Trading Places and things like that for the #1 spot. But yeah, like I remember too, like even though Empire Strikes Back is my favorite, I remember like when I was like first new to the Star Wars films, I remember, when I watched Empire Strikes Back, I'm like, this is Star Wars and it ends like on a cliffhanger. Like, what's this? This is like supposed to be like, oh, these characters like, supposed to be like a happy ending for all these people and things like that. So I didn't really know until I saw The Last Jedi, Return of the Jedi. Sorry. Damn it. Yeah.
Don't say that word.
Damn it. Damn it.
No, last time.
Return of the Jedi. And I'm like, oh, well, this picks up right where after Empire Strikes Back left off that. And I'm like, okay, And, this is easily, like I said, my second this is like a really great double feature back-to-back watching these two together. And I think that's probably the reason.
I do that too, by the way.
What's that?
Every time I watch Empire, I immediately watch Return of the Jedi, like right away.
Exactly. It's like the perfect double feature to watch. Like they connect so well with each other. It's like as soon as Empire Strikes Back ends, you can pop right in Return of the Jedi. And in a way, it's kind of like in a way you can kind of fit Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back into one movie, and it becomes like this mega ultra movie. In a way, you can kind of like make this like a 4-hour cut if you want to, like, and things like that because they connect with one another.
At least the Lucas cut.
I want to know what happened between Empire and
Jedi. Cut out. Let's go.
Like, I want to know what
Well, those are
older-
the special
there's a
editions.
year
Special editions are Lucas cuts.
Yeah. Now I wanted to also
Snyder cut.
Never gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, search your feelings. You know this to be true.
I just said it.
No.
God damn it.
But anyways, I also wanted to mention too about Return of the Jedi. This once again not directed by George Lucas, but directed by Richard Marquand.
Yeah.
Of course, unfortunately, he passed away 4 years after Return of the Jedi came out, which was too bad.
Yeah.
Um,
also passed away.
yeah, he same guy. I think he directed Eye of the Needle. Then after this, he went on to direct Until September and Jagged Edge with Jeff Bridges and Glenn Close. Now, yeah, and so I mean, what more can you say about this film?
Talk about the Ewoks.
I definitely do agree with one point that Alex made about Boba Fett dying. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I love that scene. And you guys pretty much like kind of summarized everything I was thinking about saying. I mean, all the highlights of the film that I thought of. I mean, Return of the Jedi. I mean, it's a really tough film to talk about that everybody knows about. And it also introduced this film also introduced one of my other favorite characters of the franchise, Jabba the Hutt, and things like that. And in a way, it's kind of funny whenever I tell you what's kind of funny is whenever I see the character Jabba the Hutt when I watch Return of the Jedi, surprisingly enough, I always think of Pizza the Hutt from Spaceballs.
Baseball, yeah.
So I kind of like it. That was like kind of like my thing. You know, Spaceballs was kind of like Star Wars in a way.
Yeah.
Spaceballs was kind of like my Star Wars.
I was legit grossed out when he was like stick this tongue out to Leia. I'm like, oh.
Do you have that edition? Do you have that edition on Blu-ray?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's like I was saying before, that's like kind of like my Star Wars that I grew up with, because that was like one of my favorite comedies ever and still is. But yeah, I mean this is like I said, I mean this is another great installment of the franchise. Definitely, it's a fan favorite among a lot of people, very understandably so. You have great characters. You know, Han Solo does a great job once again, and Leia, Jabba the Hutt does a great job. You know, Chewie and Luke and things like that. Wonderful battle sequences. I love the battles in the movie as well. Very good action in the movie. Once again, John Williams comes back and does a fantastic score. Once again, I mean, John Williams nails the nail right on the head for these scores. Are fantastic scores for all three films. I definitely, and like I said before, when we were talking about like New Hope and things like that, I definitely do think that Empire and this one are much more of a step up in my opinion. Like I know Alex, that you mentioned that you think you like New Hope better.
Yeah, I prefer it.
Well, I can definitely see why. I mean, it's really hard to contradict that because the New Hope is great too. But but for some reason, for me, like Return of the Jedi and Empire, felt like much more bigger movies. Like there was much more stuff happening and things like that. Well, maybe that's because they probably had bigger budgets. Like I would say, like they didn't have that much bigger of a budget, like compared to like movies nowadays, like the new Star Wars.
But at the time, these were like the most expensive films.
Right. Yeah, you got to put into perspective. This was 83, and considering like you figure like $32.5 million like budget like today. That's like nothing compared to today's budget.
Yeah, but the stuff with the speeder bikes and the
exactly
ships, like that was groundbreaking.
Speeder bikes, the one that you talk about, fantastic scene. I love that. And once again, Dave Prowse as Darth Vader, and I remember too hearing all those stories too about how they didn't treat him that well and things like that. I remember hearing a lot of stories about that, which is too bad because I really do feel for David Prowse. I mean, David Prowse really does play a huge role within the Star Wars universe. I mean, he's Darth Vader for God's sake. I mean, Darth Vader is like one of the most popular characters, not just in Star Wars history, but of all time when it comes to movie characters. And I kind of feel for Dave Prowse.
People say that James Earl Jones is Darth Vader. It's like, no, he's the voice.
He's the voice.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I feel like too. I feel like a lot of people recognize Darth Vader more as James Earl Jones, not Darth.
Yeah, just the voice. But like the performance in this one, like that's David Prowse. He should get credit. Like
Who played him in Rogue One? Do you know who played him in Rogue One?
I don't know who was. It wasn't Hayden. It wasn't Hayden Christensen. No.
You know,
He did a good job.
Rob, I can actually. I'll look that up for you. I can actually
The
pull
only
up.
problem with that though is that he didn't have. You know, on New Hope, he had like a kind of like a chain in his neck.
Yeah.
He didn't have that in Rogue One. It's supposed to.
Well, it does say that in Rogue One, James Earl Jones did do the voice for.
Yeah, he
The guy that physically portrayed him was someone named Spencer Wilding. I have no idea what this guy's known for.
Pretty good, huh?
Well, he did a good job. I wouldn't have known any different.
He's not really. He was known. He had a. I'll tell you right now. He was in. He was in Wrath. He remember Minotaur and Wrath of the Titans.
No.
Yeah.
He was. That's who the guy that played Darth Vader was in Rogue One, physical wise.
Oh.
He was all. Oh, he was. I think he had a. And he also had a. He was the Hagrid double in Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
He was like the double of
I don't
Hagrid.
remember anything about that movie.
Apparently, when I'm looking up this guy's filmography, he's in like a lot of like small roles in like Batman Begins, The Wolfman, Great Game of Thrones, Doctor
Who did he play in Batman Begins?
It just says in Batman Begins he was a shadow warrior.
Oh, League of Shadows. Okay.
One of the
One of the stunt, like some of the stuntmen that were fighting Batman.
And it also said he was in Green Lantern too.
Yay.
He was the motion capture for Kilowog.
Well, yeah, but like I agree that David Prowse doesn't get enough respect.
No, I feel like that's what I feel.
Enough recognition.
I mean, I feel like
Oh, it is? Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that.
And
I kind of do feel like James Earl Jones kind of gets more of the credit than Dave Prowse. I don't know if that's because maybe James Earl Jones is much more of a bigger name.
just the voice, you know.
Well, yeah, but I think people recognize James Earl Jones more as an actor than Dave Prowse. I mean, was Dave Prowse really known for anything else other than playing Darth Vader?
I don't think. I'm not sure.
But I never really heard Dave Prowse's name really mentioned anywhere else other than being Darth Vader. I mean, when you look at James Earl Jones, I mean, The Lion King and things like that. I mean, he has much.
Exorcist 2, your favorite?
Sandlot.
Yeah, Sandlot.
He's great, and I love the Sandlot. But Dave Prowse, I feel like I do agree with what you guys said. Like I felt for Dave Prowse during like that time when they were not inviting him and things like that. I think Dave Prowse gets just as much credit as James Earl Jones does. I mean, Dave Prowse was the physical appearance of Darth Vader, and I think he did an equally just as much of a good job as James Earl Jones did when he did the voice. So I definitely agree with that point. Yeah, but this film is fantastic. I mean, it's a great movie. Like I said, Harrison Ford once again does a great job. Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, like all these characters. Once again, seeing them all on the big screen again during the finale of the original trilogy is fantastic. Love the battle sequences, like I said, and I mean overall, and it also has really good direction too by Richard Marquand. And I know it would surprise me, but I don't know how come George Lucas never really didn't direct Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. Was there like a reason why, even though he just did the original?
I think he
was more like a producer in a way. He was still giving his intake on a lot of stuff. I just think I don't know. It just seemed like he was kind of tired out of doing that.
I think it might have been more.
Was it really because like
What was that, Dan?
I think it might be just because he wanted to focus more on the story aspect and like possibly like making sure like the creature effects and all that stuff were up to the standard that he wanted. Would be my guess.
He worked a lot behind the scenes, I think.
Yeah, he was on set.
Well, and what you figure too, he was busy with Indiana Jones and and things like that. So maybe that's probably why he couldn't fit it into his schedule. Maybe that's probably why, because you figure around the time like when Empire Strikes Back came out and also Raiders of the Lost Ark came out a year later, so maybe that's probably why he was working on Raiders. Return of the Jedi, the Temple of Doom came out in '84, so maybe he was working on Temple of Doom at that time.
That's probably you're right.
He was also going through like a lot of personal stuff.
That's right.
It's just funny. It's one of the reasons why Temple of Doom is as dark as it is. 'Cause both him and Spielberg were like really like depressed because they both got divorced like around the same time. So like a little trivia there.
Fast food.
but like I said before, there's not really much more I can. Chucky Doll was comedy.
Chucky Doll says, "I uploaded a new video. Check it out." Okay. Guess we will. Thanks for stopping by, Chucky Doll.
Yeah, I'm glad Chucky Doll really does stop in and watches these live streams. I mean, really good supporter. But
from time to time.
Right. Review.
But anyways, I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say about Return of the Jedi. I mean, it's my second favorite Star Wars film of all time. It's my second favorite of the original trilogy. And overall, I mean, it's just a really great movie, and I definitely give it a thumbs up. So I think it's a really great way to end off the original trilogy. So
he doesn't like sorry. I don't like you either. I'm from the moon of Black Russet. I got the death penalty on 50 system.
All right.
Dan.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi. You guys have touched on so many things. There's a couple things that you guys did not touch on, though, that I'm going to ask you about. I guess I'll do this right away. So the first thing is I've been talking about force powers through these movies. What did you guys feel about Luke doing the force choke on those Jabba guards when he first gets there? That's the first time we've ever seen a Jedi use. I don't know. I mean, it's not a Sith power, but that's pretty hard.
It's more of aggressive power.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was something I always thought was kind of unique.
I think it's a little kind of like a red herring. It's like, oh, is Luke going to the dark side a bit? Because he's wearing black throughout the whole movie.
Right. Yeah. So I thought that was cool. And no one here talked about the Death Star in this movie.
That's something I forgot.
Death Star. Yeah.
How did you guys feel about them reusing the Death Star in this movie?
I kind of felt like maybe they learned. Like, do you think they put something? Well, that's the thing. Like, they blew it up again, but
because they had a shield. Like
the shield is what was the most important thing about it.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, so they're rebuilding the Death Star, but how do you feel about as far as a story perspective? Like, do you feel like they should have come up with another idea, or were you guys okay with Death Star 2?
I'm okay with it, but at the same time,
or as well, yeah.
At the same time, they could have come up with something else.
I felt that when I think about it, when I'm watching the movies, I'm like, oh, it's fine, I don't care. But then you also think about it. I don't think you guys mention this stuff because it's kind of like, I don't want to say pointless, but it's not. You don't really care.
Again,
like, did you care that like the Millennium Falcon was like flying in there and like destroying it? Like Lando was flying the Falcon.
It's a good scene. It's a good scene,
pretty cool. But you got to think, because of Rogue One, they wouldn't have any other ideas because the only idea they had from the Death Star, which came from Episode 2, actually. But remember him from Rogue One? He was the designer of the thing. So it's like, I don't think they had any other choice but to make another Death Star, but maybe revitalize it a little bit, which we never got to see because it wasn't fully built yet.
Right.
Well, okay,
but it was operational.
My question though is from not from a perspective
Story,
of
just
story
from us.
in itself, but like when they were writing it, like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do Death Star 2. Like, did you?
I was
feel-
okay with it. I would have preferred
It's-
for it to be finished, but
Because it
Yeah.
does. Like, you really like? Are you really rooting for Lando? Like, are you like, yeah, come on, Millennium Falcon? Like in that movie, I'm just sitting here like, okay. Like I didn't feel any connection.
no, I was more rooting for the Emperor for Luke.
Right. It's like I feel like if they would have had something else, maybe that would have made
It would have overshadowed it.
it would have made that final battle sequence in the air maybe more interesting.
But I don't
People
think
really-
I don't think they wanted to overshadow what was happening with Luke either.
Yeah.
I'm saying like
Yeah.
It almost feels like an afterthought,
Right.
and it's even more apparent when we get to Force Awakens.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost like it's like, oh, we need to take this out now. If we don't, they're gonna build it, and what if they build it better? It's almost like it's okay. Like I just think that's fine. Like,
And again, like I'm not watching it like, oh, this sucks, but I'm also not like invested.
But
in it. And I also feel like putting Lando in there, also a character coming in late in the Empire Strikes Back, and then they put him in that scene by himself, like not with any of the other main characters. It also makes it seem like okay.
well,
Like,
he was in most of Return of the Jedi too, though. I mean, he was in the beginning too.
well, because you had Luke facing the Emperor and Darth Vader, and you had Leia,
yeah, all
Han,
that
and
stuff.
the other characters in Endor.
but again, it's like okay, Lando, like yeah, you're part of the group now, but we're gonna put you by yourself in the third act and have everyone else.
Maybe
on it.
He had Nub with him.
I think the only reason like people remember that scene, that whole sequence in space, is because of Akbar. As a trap, you know that dude.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and that's not even Lando or anything. That's just a funny thing with Akbar. But anyway, I wanted to ask you guys about that. But yeah, this is still a great movie, and watching it just this time recently, it's very hard for me to choose between Empire and Jedi of which one is my favorite. The whole Act 1 of this movie is fantastic. The whole Jabba stuff, I mean, it's so good. And the Rancor and the Sarlacc pit, that's all great. Then, like, they go from there to, like, Luke goes back to Dagobah, and you get that great scene on Dagobah where Yoda passes on. I mean, that whole scene is good, too. We get more of Force Ghost Ben, like, giving the backs. You know, we're hearing Anakin's name mentioned a bunch in this movie. You get.
I'm sorry. Do you guys like the whole point of view thing? Ben, not Ben, fucking Ben Kenobi mentions. Like,
Well-
the reason I told you like this because it's a certain point of view.
There's no question that they had to. There's no question that when they made A New Hope, they weren't like, oh, guess what? Like that was made afterward. Like I guarantee it. That's why they had them right there. But I accepted it. I wasn't like, oh, that's stupid. Like I was totally
Maybe if we were around in the 70s and 80s, and then we waited 3 years and we saw Return of the Jedi, we probably would have think, well, that's fucking bullshit. That's a cop out, you know?
the fact that Obi-Wan was like, Luke was like, you told me Vader murdered my father, and Obi-Wan's like, oh, well, he kind of did from a certain point of view, and Luke's like, a certain point of view. Like Luke was like, that's stupid, and like Obi-Wan's like, you have to learn that they're different points of view.
Yeah. So you didn't like that.
Talk about points of view. Anakin says that in episode 3. It's like, shut up about the point of view.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
It's about facts or lies.
How about the fact that Alec Guinness is a fucking lazy actor?
Well, he just you know what? He just
Let
got
him
there
go.
he was there for a paycheck.
What?
He was there for a paycheck.
I know, but it's like, oh, let me move my cape out of the way of this branch and then sit down.
Yeah.
Like, remember when he's walking through the forest, he's dodging debris. Like what? Like Force goes through that thing, bitch.
Well, hey, Yoda also sits down in Last Jedi.
But anyway,
Oh my god.
the whole dynamic. What happened?
Bitch.
Yeah, all the Emperor stuff is just phenomenal, and he's so a creepy guy. I remember as a kid being like scared of him. Like,
Yeah.
He was like evil incarnate, and it's funny because through this whole movie you can tell Vader's conflicted.
Yeah.
Like he and like in Empire he was like not conflicted at all, really. I mean, he was like dark side, wanting Luke to join the dark side. In this movie, it was more like he was like, it's just too late for me. Yeah. Now I have to do this.
You're seeing the more human side of him. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want to do this, but I have to. So that was all good, and I agree with you guys. The lightsaber battle is awesome. The Endor, the speeder chases, that's all great too. Sebastian Shaw, it's interesting you said that because I remember when they changed it, I didn't like it either. I was like, hey, I don't like that they replaced Hayden Christensen in that scene because it doesn't feel right. But when I just watched, like I said, I watched these all in chronological order recently. Like when that happened, and since I just watched the prequels, it didn't bother me as much this time. So I think I'm okay with it now. Yeah, Ewoks blinking. I didn't even know about that. That's totally fine.
I missed that. Like, I missed it. I didn't know.
So, if I had to go into some nitpicks, I feel like this movie suffers, for me personally, the same thing that there was a problem with Empire. I feel like when they get to Endor and like the characters get kidnapped by the Ewoks, to me, it slows the movie down a little bit. Just like for me, when they get to Cloud City, I feel like the movie slows down a little too much. I think that happens in both of those movies, personally, to me. And I can't say, I don't have anything. I probably feel the same way about the Ewoks as I do the Gungans. They're just there. I'm not necessarily against the Ewoks. I would say, though, I don't know. I don't want to say it bothers me, but like the fact that they're able to take out, like, win that battle, I feel like that was maybe a little far-fetched. But the stormtroopers are just terrible.
It's for kids.
Yeah, no, and it's more lighthearted. Like when you go from Empire dark, and then you get like more like lighthearted stuff. Mm-hmm. It was a total change, which isn't bad necessarily. But there's so much good stuff in this movie that, again, it is really hard for me to. I used to always say Empire was for sure my favorite, but like watching these two back to back just recently, it's really hard for me to say because there's so much good in Return of the Jedi. But I think I hit on everything that I wanted to hit on.
The Ewoks were savages.
They were going to eat them, remember?
Yeah.
They even showed a couple Ewoks dying in the battle, too.
Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of sad. I actually get sad at that part when that one dies. Like, the other one gets up and like he's trying to get him. He's like, oh.
Yeah. No, that part was. Well, when we were watching, I asked my kids, I'm like, what did you guys think of the Ewoks? Because I wanted to get their opinion on everything.
Yeah.
Like, did we go over all the changes?
Like the biggest changes. We talked about the music number.
I think you guys have a problem with this. I am totally fine with it.
What?
And I think I'm in the minority. I think.
The no.
Yeah, I
hate that. I hate that.
I was totally fine with it.
I was fine with him just not saying anything. Because
the
thing when he's looking and he's looking back and he's looking like, and he just like, I think that was a powerful message in itself.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Without him saying no, perfect.
I'm saying I don't think they needed to do that. I mean, they have it, but it's like I just don't think they.
That's why I don't watch the Blu-ray version.
Wait, seriously?
I don't have the Blu. I don't watch the Blu-ray version.
I agree that the changes didn't need to be. I feel like the scene worked fine without him, but I feel in putting him in, I don't feel like it ruins the scene at all. I think it was.
It's more on the nose.
And I know I'm in the minority because I think that generally people don't like that. But I also think that Revenge of the Sith at the end is fine too. I don't know why people don't like that either, but it's just personal opinion.
I actually thought the one in Revenge of the Sith wasn't as bad.
No.
I mean, it makes sense to how he's yelling for Padme, like he.
Yeah. He lost because he lost somebody, and here he's gaining somebody. So why we?
Are you guys glad? I'm just going to backtrack a little bit. How about in Empire Strikes Back? How they removed Luke's scream when he jumps to his death?
Yeah, because that was like that was a change in the 1997 version, and then they
He was
took it
screaming
out
if he
again.
was actually jumping.
Right. And that wasn't even Mark Hamill screaming, by
That
the
was
way.
Ian McDermott screaming.
Yeah. They
That was
used
the same scream when he falls in Return of the Jedi.
You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good that they rebooted because he was like that was a sacrifice.
He committed suicide.
And that's a really, by the way, that's a really good scene. I like that the Anakin scene at the end when he's like, "Tell your sister you were right about me."
Mhm.
Like
He also should have said, "Oh yeah, and your mother was."
It almost makes you wonder.
your mother was what? A great
was a great. I don't know. Was a bitch.
It almost makes you wonder if he could have saved Vader because the only thing he got his arm chopped off or his hand, but it's like
no. In my opinion, he was doomed because he was more machine now than man. That electricity, like I think that
Messed up his suit. Yeah.
I think if he would have been a human, obviously look how much Luke took and he was fine. But Vader being all that robot, I feel like that's what I think that electrocuted him very badly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, yeah, you see after he throws him, and then he's breathing differently.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think also he had a hole in his suit too. I mean,
yeah,
that probably is another reason too.
That's a good point. Like he needs that respirator to survive.
Yeah.
So I think, what would be done?
Oh, and no matter he always loses on the high ground when someone else has the high ground. You see Luke flip into the little backline thing, and it's like it's funny. Like I like there's a million Star Wars memes, but I like one of my favorite ones is like where Luke says like it's like Luke saying like I have the high ground. Father's like I'm not falling for that shit again. He throws a lightsaber at him.
It almost makes me wonder if they originally wrote the Emperor to have a saber or not, because it makes you wonder where his saber is.
I don't think so.
Oh, he gave it to Darth Vader.
No, that's not the same saber.
real. That's not the right. That's not the.
Is it?
That's
okay.
not. No. No,
okay.
It's definitely.
I always assumed he just gave it to him because like.
No, the Emperor has like a gold. His is like
the Emperor.
gold.
The Emperor would always have one because if he's training somebody, he would always have one.
I don't think that it's the same thing with Yoda. He didn't have one either in the original.
So where did Vader's lightsaber come from?
Yoda lost it, yeah, but the Emperor didn't.
Yeah.
So like okay, so where did he get the Vader his lightsaber then? He just had it.
They make them. The Jedi make their sabers.
Right, but I'm talking about the red lightsaber.
But I'm just like his handle is completely different than.
Okay.
It's definitely not.
Because for years I just assumed he just gave him his lightsaber.
Well, you're wrong. That's not the case.
Okay. I don't fucking pay attention to the detail of the handle. You know.
Well, I do.
Know your sabers, goddammit.
Do you really have Anakin like Grievous's? General Grievous's saber.
Yeah. You fool! I've been trained by Count Dooku.
You fool!
I like how you once mentioned, like Rob. You once you mentioned, like, like Grievous thinks he's the shit, but Obi-Wan kicks his ass easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all love Return of the Jedi.
Absolutely.
Even lightsaber battle, Obi-Wan was beat. He was able to deflect 4 sabers at once, like to get rid of his arms, and then Grievous.
He force pushed that bitch.
Pulls open those things. That's general.
You know, I want to mention like how the Ewoks were savages, and then Han was like that scene when they meet the Ewoks.
Activity next.
Yeah, like that scene when they meet the Ewoks, and then Han he grabs the spear and he's like, "Hey, point that thing somewhere else." You can see Mark Hamill like behind him, like trying not to laugh. He's probably thinking,
really?
Yeah, you see Mark Hamill trying not to laugh. Like I don't know if it's Luke laughing or it's just like Mark Hamill just like he's trying to hold laughter.
You want to hear something funny? I had just read this in an interview with Carrie Fisher, and when I watched A New Hope, I was like, I've never noticed this before. But in the scene when Alderaan is going to get destroyed, when she walks in, remember her and Tarkin have back and forth?
Yeah.
If you watch that scene, Leia talks differently. And the interviewer asked her about it, and she's like, it's because Peter Cushing, it was like, I think I was just trying to emulate him.
Oh, she tried to do a British accent.
Right, because she's like, I could smell your stench in the hallway. Like, she's like, like what? Like, and I never noticed that, but when I watched the scene after reading the interview, I was like, oh my God, yeah, that is true. Like, she does throw her lines differently in that scene.
Yeah, and then like later, she's talking normal. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But yeah.
What a terrible actress.
It was snow.
What? Why didn't Lucas change that in special editions? Huh? Why didn't Lucas change that in special editions?
Change what?
Her voice.
Well, because
a lot of changes.
If they used her voice now, it'd sound like she had a stuffy nose.
or a cigarette.
Or cigarette throat. Even in Return of the Jedi, it was like she became Scarlett Johansson.
This is Leia. Here's the Force, Luke.
Yeah.
Where your seat?
Nub. Nub.
Man, my favorite part of that movie was Lando.
How you doing, you pirate?
When he flew the Falcon, no one even cared that he blew the Death Star up.
Oh, he blew something all right. All over those robots.
I don't think I'm ever
I
going to
can't
watch
let that go. I'm sorry. I can't. That's so stupid.
Whatever.
I hope they make Rogue One not canon.
Rogue One is far better film than...
Dan, why do you hate Rogue One?
I don't hate Rogue One.
I agree. He says the same thing a lot of others say. Like, the characters are not intriguing.
Like, they're not, like, I don't care.
I understand.
Like, I didn't, like, feel like, oh, no, that... I'm just like, okay.
I disagree. I like them.
You like the pilot. That's the guy's like, I'm a pilot. Yeah. He just keeps saying over the fucking...
The only good parts of that movie that I really enjoyed...
Forrest Whitaker?
No. I thought the air battle scene in the Act 3.
Yeah.
I thought that was
one of the best,
like, because they had little obstacles to do in the space battles. It wasn't just like, okay, space battle. It was like, okay.
I would say the new films, the Disney films, Rogue One has the best space battles.
Yeah, it was really good, and I like the Vader stuff.
I like Rogue One better than the Disney films.
I like the Vader stuff, and I thought Peter Cushing's. I thought that was. I didn't have any problem with Tarkin being in that movie. I thought that was.
Well, he had to be in it, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm done with the episode 6.
Return of the Jedi. Revenge of the Jedi. The Rise. It should be called. She should call it Star Wars Episode 6: The Rise of the Ewoks.
The Help of the Ewoks.
Are we gonna do an official ranking?
Wilford Brimley should have helped him.
We could do a ranking of this trilogy. We did one for the prequels.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
This ranking is gonna be easy.
I'll tell you right now. Number 3 for me is A New Hope.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yep.
Really?
New Hope for me too.
Oh wow. For me, even though I number three for me, even though I love it and I think it's extremely underrated, it's Return of the Jedi.
You think Return of the Jedi is underrated?
Yeah.
I would say New Hope would be underrated.
Wait, but you think
How is New Hope underrated when it's considered the fucking phenomenon?
Well, that's because the other two are much bigger. That's probably why.
Because when people say what their favorites are, it's either Empire, Return of the Jedi, New Hope. No one ever says New Hope at all. That's why I think it's underrated.
Yeah, you don't usually hear people say Return of the Jedi is overrated.
You're actually the first person I've probably even heard of say that you enjoy New Hope probably the most, right?
Yeah, well, I always heard from a lot of fans that Return of the Jedi was like their least favorite of the original trilogy, but they still like it.
Least favorite is different than underrated.
I don't know, because like when I'm talking about like in the history of cinema, they always talk about the original Star Wars and Empire. They don't really mention Return to as much. That's why I call it underrated. But this is all before the prequel trilogy came out. So
Well, you're allowed to have your opinion.
I think opinions have changed on some of these movies. Like Return of the Jedi is loved even more now, just like the prequels are liked more now.
That's because people like Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, but number 3 is Return of the Jedi.
New Hope.
All right.
All right.
Number
2. Jedi.
Empire.
It's tough for me. What, Alex? You go.
2. Empire.
God damn it.
Just say it.
I'll just say Jedi, I guess.
Okay.
I've always said Empire is my favorite, so.
Empire's my favorite.
So number 1, Dan
Jedi.
Empire, Thomas Empire.
Jedi.
Is Jedi. Mine's
Yeah, okay.
Star Wars.
It's called
Wait.
A New Hope.
It's Star Wars. It's called Star Wars.
Well, you guys sound like like when you guys were going back and forth, it sounded like Inspector Clouseau and Pink Panther 2. It's Jojo Bob. No, it's Hobo Bob. It's Jojo
But
Bob.
like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love all these 3 movies. Man.
Oh, I mean, the original
They're
trilogy.
all great.
The ones I gave you?
Yes.
Those specific copies.
even if it's like the special edition versions or whatever. Like, even if I don't like some changes, I still love all the original
Those are
trilogy.
the good versions, though.
Alex,
That's-
do you really dislike the changes so much on the Blu-rays that you don't watch the Blu-rays, or do you not have the Blu-rays?
I don't have them, but I've seen the clips of the changes, and I don't like any of them.
Well, do you prefer? Oh wait, what about the change? I forgot we discussed the Phantom Menace one with Yoda.
I said I prefer the puppet.
Oh, you prefer the okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because he's just sitting down. It's like you don't really need to change the CGI.
what about the Emperor and Empire though?
I don't mind that change.
Oh, you said you
He's
didn't
just talking. He's talking about the Blu-ray edition.
Changes.
Oh, was that a DVD change?
The Emperor was changed. That was changed way back in.
Yeah, that was the DVD change. That was the DVD change.
Okay.
That was the DVD.
Okay.
Blu-ray had specific changes too.
Yeah, like they changed the Obi-Wan when he scares the Tusken Raiders, like that scream. It always changes.
Yeah, didn't they?
That was
Didn't
the
they
worst.
change the Rock in front of?
They
R2?
changed that. They've changed that multiple times. Too.
Yeah, but like the Blu-ray version is the worst fucking one.
No, because the DVD version they made it so he was trapped in the Rock. He had
No,
no
I'm
way
talking
out.
about like the Obi-Wan's
The
scaring
dragon.
the Tusken
Oh.
Raiders.
No,
Oh
hey,
my god, that's horrible.
that was the creature from Utapau. That was that sound.
I'm gonna kill that fucking thing. I can't believe I did that.
And the
Why?
And then no.
I'd rather them ride them stupid crystal foxes.
Oh, I didn't know you. You didn't
Hey,
like
tell me
read.
the fucking thing that Obi-Wan's writing in Revenge of the Sith.
I don't know. He's riding a CGI thing.
Yeah, the one's like
It was.
I think-
It's like. I
yeah.
don't know. I would prefer him just to walk.
And then when he gets shot at, the thing falls like.
How come then the Jedi never force ran except for in Phantom Menace, and they only did it once? Those stupid.
That's something like they should have showed more.
Yeah. Then they come up with forced teleport.
Yeah.
Telepathy or whatever the fuck that is.
I think that was just a glitch in the Lucasfilm film reel. Maybe
What was the glitch?
them fast running,
No, that was Flash.
because that was just one time. That was just the beginning of the movie.
That's what they're gonna do for the Flash movie, hopefully. Back in 2020.
Like hopefully he doesn't run like a retard in the movie,
I hope he does.
like he did in Justice League.
I hope Superman shows up with his mustache too. God damn you!
But yeah, anyway, yeah, we all love the original film.
Yeah.
Yes, we've covered 6.
So just to clarify, we all like all the films in this trilogy. I just trying did either of you guys dislike any of the prequels? I mean, like the word dislike, or were you just thinking they were okay?
I thought like Attack of the Clones was okay, and then
Yeah, I wouldn't say I dislike any of the
I
prequels.
can't. No.
Episode 1 and 2 are okay, but
See, if we're talking about the holiday special, then yes.
Well, Alex, you held up the original trilogy, and you're like, I like all the movies in this trilogy, which made me wonder if there was a one you didn't like in the prequels as far as a dislike.
We're like Attack of the Clones was like the closest one. Like I dislike.
But would you say you dislike it, or would you just say it's okay?
I can't say I dislike it. I just think it's okay.
Okay.
But who knows? Episode 9, you never fucking know. Like episode 9 could be Dark Fate for all we fucking know.
I can't wait till the next podcast. I can't wait. It's gonna go down.
Yeah.
It will go down.
But like we don't have no fucking idea how episode 9 is gonna turn out.
It could be. It
Either way.
could be a 10-hour show.
It might be that we're waiting for the worst thing to happen, but we might go in being liking it. So
look, okay, I'll just say this. I expected it to be good, but like just like Force Awakens, honestly, like I don't think any new film is ever gonna touch the original trilogy. It's never gonna be in that level.
You can't compare it. I don't think you can compare.
No, you're
it's
right.
Not fair, because it's not on the same level anymore.
No. Mm-hmm. So
this is the new age. So
I mean, for all we know, like episode 9 could be the best of the new trilogy.
Yeah,
for all we know,
I doubt it.
Kylo Ren could disappear with Transformium and end up on the other side of the galaxy. That could happen.
Yeah.
It's
all what they're made of.
From what we know for a fact, based on just the first couple trailers, we're gonna see if things were added because they were desperate to try to get fans to like it, or if it actually is going to make sense in the story.
I'm wondering if it even comes out on Blu-ray, if we're going to get a bunch of different deleted scenes, if they're going to add all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, before I end the show, what's one thing you want to see in Rise of Skywalker? If even it's like something that's fan service.
One thing?
Yeah, like one thing. You do.
You mean hoping as far as just your number one thing that you want to happen, or just something that you hope happens?
Either hope or you want to happen.
I'll tell you mine. I want them to explain the Emperor's return.
I'm pretty sure they will.
Well, that's fine.
But
I just want them.
We just don't know the details yet.
I want. I don't know if there's one thing, man. That's tough. There's a lot of things that.
For me, this is easy for me. For me, I want them to show the Jedi Force Ghost.
Oh, the
specific ones or any of them?
You're talking about the lead.
I want to see Obi-Wan Force Ghost and Anakin Force Ghost. And you've already seen Yoda, but
I mean, I don't know. You might just have to hear them, but
I think for me, man, one thing would have to be
Qui-Gon. Show Qui-Gon, motherfucker.
That would be that would make my day if he showed up. Because I always liked Qui-Gon. But I think I agree with Bob. There needs to be not only a good explanation for why the Emperor. I mean, I said this to Bob earlier today. They've kind of perfectly set up a good explanation on how the Emperor is there, but I worry they're not going to use it. It all deals with Episode 3. Darth Sidious said that he learned how to stop to cheat death, and he even said he's like my he's like the apprentice learned everything, which means he learned it, and then he even said he's like it's ironic. He's like Darth Plagueis could stop people from dying, but not himself. So it's he pretty much says he has the skill to stay alive. So that's the explanation I want to hear. I don't want to hear anything like, oh, I managed to go into a escape pod, or I teleported this or that.
Yeah.
They have the reason. They've already established it. They need to use it.
And they're marketing the Emperor's return big time. He's on the poster, and they're showing him in the trailer, so it's like, you know,
what? Here's my biggest fear of the movie, and I don't see how there's any way around it. The Emperor was the man behind the curtain and the most powerful character in 6 films, pretty much. Okay.
Right.
I don't want them to bring him back and then like, oh, now he's dead. Like, to me, that's garbage. That's like, oh well, we needed a big bad. We brought him back to be killed. Like, but I don't see there's any way around it. I
that's the thing though. Why bring him back if he's weak?
I see what
You
you
know,
mean.
the only way to beat him is
He's like, if you see in the trailer, the only glimpse you see him is he's like floating like in a chair or something like that. So maybe he is like he used all the power he had to survive death, but that weakened him. Like that could be.
I already heard a rumor on why he is the way he is. Like I've heard a rumor about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no.
So yeah, I'm going in with low expectations.
That's what I'm doing.
now.
I just don't want to hear. I just don't want to see any more things. Like I know this week they're going to be releasing.
I think there's irreparable damage done. Irreparable being that they can't correct it.
Han's dead, Luke's dead, and Leia, or Carrie Fisher is actually gone, and it's like they blew the chance to have them all together in a scene. They blew it.
You see that in Force Ghost.
Han is a Force ghost? Fuck that.
No.
I guess we're getting off. This is going to be our next podcast. Is probably going to be 6 hours.
This is set up for the next one.
Probably even 10 hours.
Yeah, because we're gonna be talking about. It's funny, like Force Awakens is gonna be it's gonna feel so short, and then we're gonna get into it, Last Jedi, and then we're gonna talk about Rise of Skywalker because we just saw it.
Force Awakens has issues too, though. So.
It does. Even though I like it, it does have issues. But
yeah,
Dan and I are going on Thursday. What time? 6 is our show. And we got our seats picked out, but I'm not sure if they said if it was sold out or not. Like.
Oh, what? Oh, well, that showing is.
Yeah.
I mean, like when we got our seats, remember there was like,
it was
like slim pickings.
Yeah, we're dressing up too. I'm going as Sidious, and he's going as
I don't know.
Jedi. Maybe you're not.
I'm debating at this point. I was going to, but I've kind of gone downhill.
He's like me in Last
Okay. Hey, Thomas, is there one thing you want to see for Rise of Skywalker?
I agree with what Rob said. I'm pretty sure they are going to show it though about how the Emperor does return.
Like, okay, whatever the explanation is, hopefully it's like you guys said, it makes sense and it.
Right, that's what I'm hoping for at least.
I don't think original fans are going to be pleased either way because they're going to say, well, since they're bringing him back, that kind of defeats the purpose on what Vader did.
Okay, well, you know what though, I can't. Let's end the show now because like we haven't seen the movie, so I can't fucking defend it. So, all right.
Yeah, it's hard to say until we see it.
I'm ripping my ticket out.
Yeah, well, we're just theorizing. All right, well, Chucky Doll or anyone else who watched us live, thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
And may the force be with you always.
Yeah. Zero.
Oh, oh, oh.
Zoom.